So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County. Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do. And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why.
That's unacceptable. I don't even like racism.
In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. Thank you for tuning in. With us tonight for his usual monthly appearance is our friend Frank from Quite Frankly.tv. For all things Quite Frankly, shows live weeknights 7 Eastern. Welcome back, my friend.
Saddle up, partner.
And don't forget my secondary, the website, mattis.gay.
You know, you can find Quite Frankly on mattis.gay these days. We do have a referral link for you. Yeah.
You know, on my birthday for one day, you should URL forward to quitefrankly.tv.
The thing is,
one day.
I don't actually own mattis.gay. A listener does, and he is kind enough to forward to me, but I don't own the domain. I have to go back in my email inbox and get a hold of him, and then we could arrange that sort of thing. But
good to be back. It's March.
Yeah, glad to have you as always. Frank will be here till the bottom of the hour as usual. We'll talk. You know, Frank, I'm going to give you a choice because I know that there's a lot of discouraging topics, but before I get or after I get through the call instructions and all that, I'm going to let you decide. Do you want to talk Iran or do you want to talk Texas politics? So think about it.
Let's do Texas politics.
You do Texas, okay?
I would. It's funnier. And
yeah.
the Iran. Well, I have some roundabout thoughts about the Iran thing. Just about people's reception and just after 48 hours of talking about it, I have some things to say about it.
Sure.
So we can talk about just the actual event and whatever. But let's do Texas first.
Okay, we'll get into Texas first. Whatever time we have left, we'll get your Iran take as well. Of course, it was a crazy night in Texas politics. I didn't see the Crenshaw thing coming at all. I didn't even know he had a credible challenger, so that was a surprise to me. But Jasmine Crockett loses her Senate bid. There's a kooky guy running for Senate now, and then it's all messy with what's going on with their Republican Senate candidates too. So we'll go through all that later on. Bottom of the hour, Mark Aaron and Joshy Boy will join. We'll take some of your calls later in the show. We got some odds and ends to get through with them as well, but we'll take your calls, voicemails, emails, all that. If you'd like to call the show live, you can do that through the Discord server linked in the description. There are help and instructions available for you on the server. And if you'd like to text the show or leave a voicemail, numbers in the description for that as well. Do have room for a couple voicemails tonight if you'd like to get one of those in the next hour. But all right, Frank, I have a little tradition on this show. Speaking of the Texas political situation, that is every time someone's political career ends, I like to do a montage of what happened with them. It's to Sarah McLachlan's "I Will Remember You." We remember some of their greatest moments, and so if we're starting with Texas politics up front, can I invite you to remember Dan Crenshaw?
Everyone is watching Ukraine right now. Everyone is sending thoughts and prayers and commenting that they stand with Ukraine, and that's good. But it needs to be supplemented with bullets and bombs.
Have you ever met Tucker?
We've talked a lot on Twitter. If I ever meet him, I'll finally tell him.
Crenshaw said, quote,
The most important thing here is that we have important hero archetypes that we look up to. Jesus is a hero archetype, Superman is a hero archetype. Real characters too. I can't wrap my head around this.
Well, I'll help you. Put a period out the word Jesus and don't question my faith.
Fucking own, bitch! You moron.
I didn't see Crenshaw going anywhere, but he will be out after January. Your thoughts on Dan?
You know, I remember him being, and I don't know anything about him, but prior to everybody realizing this guy is a big fucking tool. But there was a time when he was like the new kid on the block and kind of badass because he was a veteran and he had an eye patch and I kind of like, I don't remember what was once thought to be solid about him before he started really turning people off. I don't remember that time because it's been so long that people have not liked him.
The first time I became aware of him was he was made fun of on Saturday Night Live by Pete Davidson. And Pete Davidson said something like, yeah, he wears an eye patch like a pirate, matey, or some kind of joke like that. Oh, I know he lost the eye patch, he lost his eye in war or whatever. And people got all pissed off at Pete Davidson for mocking a combat injured veteran. And what I liked about Dan Crenshaw at the time, and this is like right when he entered Congress, so like 2019, instead of throwing a fit about it, instead of bitching, he went on Saturday Night Live and did a good faith roast back and forth with Pete Davidson. And it was really funny. And I appreciated that he was able to take a joke and he was able to deliver a joke. And ever since then, it's been the sort of stuff that we saw in the montage there, just like talking. You can talk about his politics, which, of course, he's been very hawkish on Ukraine. Of course, he worked with Democrats to some extent on immigration at the end of 2024. Took a lot of flack for that. Made a lot of money, Nancy Pelosi style, in Congress. So there's all of that. But at bottom line, the guy's just kind of a dick, and nobody likes him. You saw him ripping that 10-year-old, asking him about a quote he had said on a podcast about Jesus and whether Jesus was real or not. You could interpret the question as bad faith, but it's coming from a kid, dude. You got to chill out for a second. And it just seems like the guy is kind of a dick and people don't like him. And that's what led to his downfall, I'm guessing, even maybe beyond his politics themselves.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, Pablo in the chat room just said after SNL ripped on him, he got popular. Maybe that's just what it was because after that, I guess the bloom came off the rose real quick. I mean, Sarah Palin went on to SNL to kind of, embrace the way that she was portrayed with that. I can see Russia from my house thing. You remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so then Dan Crenshaw is out. The other one that you were I didn't hear the actual statements, but I knew that she had blamed Republicans for taking it. So it was hilarious to actually hear the clip.
Yeah, let's. Do you want to remember Jasmine Crockett first, or have you had enough of the bit? I have a montage for her too, if you'd like to see it.
Please, I would love to remember.
We'll remember Jasmine Crockett, who was running for Senate, but it all fell apart last night.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation. If Joe Biden was like mentally deficient in some way and he was still able to keep this sucker on the tracks, then give me a mentally deficient Joe Biden any given day over Donald Trump.
The all-time classic. I know you remember this one.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Oh, girl, baby girl. Oh, really? Don't even play.
If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
And just think, Frank, the one person left from that infamous exchange in 2024 is AOC and her big juicy.
Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty.
They're all gone. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jasmine will be there till January, but You're
she's
right.
gonna have what's the over under, or how much would you put down? I put down $5 that she will. I don't know how much of a permanent or semi-permanent basis it will be, but she's definitely going to occupy one of the chairs on The View.
Oh, I would say that's a pretty good prediction.
I mean,
the thing is, like, she'd have to replace somebody probably. Maybe Whoopi retires. Is she the new Whoopi?
I don't know. She's definitely not going to take Sonny's job. Sonny has like nothing else going for her. But I don't know. I can see her just sitting in at least one day and maybe coming back once every couple of months. Here's the whole thing. Congress is the perfect place for somebody like Jasmine Crockett, who is exceedingly stupid. And because you can hide a stupid person in Congress for decades. There's really nothing to it. You're mostly told how to vote. And you just follow along with your party. There's very little independent thinkers in there and caucuses. So it's you really don't need to be anything but a rabble rouser and some sort of a community organizer in that respect. So, but once you get outside of that, like, you have to have some kind of talent. You have to have some kind of prerequisite. She is just I don't know. She's just a weird. She's a mean girl, I guess, or something like that. I don't know how you would say, but what do you think a lobbying firm is going to call her up? You think she's going to be lobbying, or you think she's going to be hired by a defense contractor? Like, she cannot do any of that stuff. Congress was perfect for her. So I don't know where the hell she goes from here.
Maybe she'll be back, but in addition to all those things you described, she's also an election denier, like you said, and she refused to concede last night. And she did concede this morning, so it is over. But you're right. She went on the stage last night, and she said there was some dispute about what's going on in Dallas, where she's from. She said, we're not going to have results tonight. But as you mentioned, the explanation was Republicans have rigged it against her.
So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County. Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do.
Yeah.
And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why.
Well, and the truth is the opposite. What she's talking about there, Frank, is a dispute about the polling hours in Dallas, and she was trying to extend them, is my understanding. So when she talks about other people cheating, what she's talking about is extended hours in her area. Her district is in the Dallas area. She's trying to extend the hours where she's from as much as possible. It didn't really matter because it wasn't particularly close. I think it was something like 54-46, or it wasn't like a razor thin election. And I'm sure you've seen this fruitcake that she lost to, James Talarico. Yeah.
Dude, what a Twinkie. Holy shit. I mean, listen, for her to lose to this guy and to go up there and I would have to blame Republicans as well, because to have to look in the mirror, if I were Jasmine Crockett, I could not look in the mirror and say, I wasn't functional enough to give people a reason to not choose this crazy twink. And I would have to blame Republicans. I would not want to accept that.
Well,
but
previously, the theory was Republicans were pushing her. And I've heard a lot of people, radio hosts, podcast hosts, social media personalities, a lot of people were tongue-in-cheek, jokingly behind Jasmine Crockett because, number one, she's a very defeatable candidate. Not that it really matters in Texas. I don't think really anybody they put forward is going to win. But it's also the show, too. I wanted to see the show of a full campaign season for her. And just so people understand, the reason she's out of Congress, my understanding is, you can't run for Senate and House at the same time. So while she was running in the Senate primary and was defeated last night, you can't run in the House primary. So some other guy ran in her Dallas district and won the party nomination. So as you were saying, she's temporarily going to be out of sight. What her next move is, nobody knows, but media personality would make a lot of sense. I think you're probably right in that prediction.
It would have to be, because she is just one of those girl kind of personalities, and that's really all the message is. You communicate with duck lips and eyebrows like that. That's just what it is. There's really no vocabulary there, and of course, who the hell are you going to represent? I mean, she was out there. Those clips that you just put in the Remembering Jasmine montage there, that wasn't even all of her appearances where she would sit there cross-legged, rocking a high-heeled foot in the air and talking again about we're not working these jobs. She's messaging to black people like and maybe that is like the makeup of her district. Like, do you know what the racial makeup of her district is? Because if mostly black Democrats were voting for the white gay guy, that would be even worse.
Let's see. I think she's in, what is she in, Texas 30? I could try to look this up on the fly.
Let me see. Wait. What district?
Hold on. Yes, she is. Am I right here? Yeah, she is Texas 30. So Texas 30 racial demographics. Let's see if we can do this anytime soon here. AI mode is thinking. Okay, here is your answer, Frank.
I got it.
Is 49% Hispanic or Latino. And 44% white alone, no Hispanic or Latino, but it's pretty even split. Black or African American, 39%. So very high black population, though not majority.
Okay. All right. So I mean, either way, the constant messaging about exclusive messaging, definitely to black people, because she's trying to make a slavery joke there. We're not picking no more cotton. First of all, that's a slavery joke.
Yeah.
So you're establishing the premise of what you are, how you identify illegal immigrants and their agricultural work and agricultural roles here in the United States. Like, she's one of those people who, for the sake of a tired punchline, continues to tell people we're not sending back our new brown slaves because we ain't gonna work the fields, even though it's a fucking job.
Do you know the full context of what she was talking about there too? When she said that,
Well, no.
She was referencing slavery, like you're saying, but she was trying to convince people that illegal immigrants or immigrants in general are necessary to do the jobs that they won't do anyway. We need someone to pick the cotton. Yeah,
exactly.
So, but we need those illegal immigrants to pick the cotton is what she was getting at, I guess.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like for the sake of a really tired joke, they're also admitting that we see these people who have come here illegally as a permanent underclass of dependents. That are dependent upon that do work that we don't want to do anymore, which is which is so crazy because it is not undignified work. And when I watched all of her appearances making these comments, because she did it in multiple occasions, I just kept saying the whole thing. This is indicative of a much bigger problem that we always say we have to have a conversation about it. What the fuck do conversations really do? It's a diagnosis that's being made that we are sick in the soul of the country, that there are so many people who look at agricultural work as beneath them or slave work that they want. Like we got a whole bunch of this nation is a bunch of overeducated people who believe that they should be a CEO making 8 figures and that working and just having employment is beneath them, and we need illegal immigrants to do these jobs because we have better things to do. And meanwhile, we're not working that much. There's so many people who are dependent. We just had a SNAP EBT situation back around Thanksgiving, and we realized, there's 40 million people who would probably starve for not because they're even disabled, because they just refuse to work. Most of them. Like, we got a real big cultural problem, a big one. And every time she opened her mouth, that was abundantly clear.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left. how much time do you need to talk Iran if you want to? I want to make sure there's enough time to get your thoughts out if you have them.
Well, I mean, how about you start off? Let me see what you think about this.
I actually don't have too much to say because we talked about it for like an hour on Sunday, and not a lot has changed since then. My general perspective is, not generally not what I voted for in terms of foreign intervention. Generally skeptical of being world police. Definitely skeptical of regime change in the Middle East after the last 20 years that we've all watched. However, I am going to choose to wait and see. I am not going to doom spiral. I'm not going to black pill, and I'm going to hope that there is a best case scenario that plays out here. We went through a theory on how this weakens China and helps us decouple from China and all that. So this is not how I would operate philosophically. However, I want to allow a chance for success here because, frankly, I've been skeptical of almost all of the president's foreign policy moves. Just last month when Maduro was out, or at the start of the year when Maduro was ousted, I was worried about that for the same reasons. And I'm not saying it's for sure the right move because it's going to be a long-term analysis. However, a lot of the immediate concerns about World War III or whatever is going to, the terrible things that are going to happen, I just haven't seen the disasters materialize after Trump's moves. So that is my wait and see approach, but I don't know what you think about it philosophically.
I'm with you on the wait and see. And it's mostly just because I'm tired. I'm tired of, and there's a lot of people out there who are new in the new media space, or, there's so many channels to watch. There's so many people out there that you've got to differentiate yourself. And therefore it's all or nothing. You're either so enthusiastic and you're screaming and emotion, and I don't have the emotions to spend on this anymore. It's not necessarily what I voted for either, and I don't know how. I mean, they say it's not. When Pete Hegseth said, "Well, this is not about regime change," but the regime sure did change. I said, okay. I said, well, listen.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no chance in hell that a government in Iran is going to be reconstituted successfully through airstrikes. A
lot of the messaging has been confusing and redefining terms in the way you're saying. It's not regime change, but the regime did change. It's not a war, but sometimes we call it a war. And to the point on who's going to replace the Ayatollah, who the new Ayatollah will be, I am confused on that too, because simultaneously we're hearing calls for the Iranian people to rise up and form their own government. I also heard, as part of some reporting that I was watching earlier today, that Israel is saying, regardless of who replaces Khamenei, they consider that person to have a target on his back. So it doesn't seem possible to me that we're just going to allow Iran to continue to install leaders and every single one they install is a new target. But the only alternative there is you have to put in your guy. And we've seen that movie before too, where we try to prop up the supposedly lesser evil in a country in that part of the world. And we spend a lot of our blood and resources doing it. I hope it doesn't come to that. But if there's a major thing I'm disappointed in so far beyond, I suppose, the general philosophy, it is the messaging. And a lot of the messaging has been confusing. Did you see did you see the Rubio commentary?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about primarily on Monday or yesterday. I forget what the hell it was. So, yeah, I think it was yesterday. And that's the whole thing there. Like I'm waiting to see. The last time that he bombed, we went to Venezuela. We was like, oh boy, what's going to happen here? And it was just zip, and we haven't heard anything about it before. Since then, the first time that he bombed Iran last year, it was zip, and there you go. The nuclear program has been completely obliterated for a couple of months, and then we have now, and that's the real thing that's been getting me. Like I said, there's no syllogism. There's no way to really properly follow a nice, logical, structured flow from the premise to the conclusion. Mm-hmm. for as much as we can talk about 9/11 and what 9/11 was all about, what we were given as a society after 9/11 was easy to follow. The terrorists brought down the Twin Towers, therefore war on terror. That was the syllogism. It made sense. You have Marco Rubio coming out saying that this is an apocalyptic theology war that's being pushed, and that he said it on, I think, Monday. On Monday, he said that we had to strike Iran because somebody else was going to strike Iran.
Yeah.
Not because Iran was going to strike us. He said, and it could have been, so it was Israel. Israel was going to strike Iran, and therefore we had to strike Iran because if we were not the one that did it first, we would have been retaliated against.
Yeah.
Makes no sense in itself. Then the next day, yesterday, of course, you know, because you're covering it, Donald Trump says, no, we had intelligence that said that we are going to get hit by Iran. I felt strongly, even though the Pentagon said through one channel or another, there was no intelligence that said that this was going to happen. So it was just a hunch and whatever the fuck else.
Trump's commentary cracked me up. I know it's not a joking matter, but sometimes he just unintentionally cracks me up. Because you're right. Rubio said, okay, Israel was going to make their move, so we had to make our move preemptively because otherwise their retaliation against us would be even worse. And this is the sort of communication that's hard for me to understand.
I don't understand because if you know it's coming, you're prepared for it.
And then you get pieces saying, no, Marco Rubio didn't say that because he was actually talking about two different things and we were going to do it regardless, but it was Israel's timing that made us do it now. Okay, but that's still granting the premise that another country dictated or led our military decision-making, even if it only was about timing. We can dissect all the complexities of that commentary. But they asked Trump about it. What clip is it? I think it's my third one here. Trump just says, no, Israel didn't force our hand. I forced their hand.
The late Ayatollah...
Oh, that's the wrong one. Let me try this one.
The president rejecting the idea made by his own Secretary of State that Israel's plan to attack forced the U.S.'s hand.
So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready.
It's just reflexive.
Like,
reflexive. No, it was the opposite. Whatever you say, it was the opposite, I assure you. And no explanation for how the hand was forced as far as I've seen. But yeah, it's that kind of stuff that.
Oh, yeah. The damsel in distress that just they couldn't bring themselves to fire a missile at Iran, that we had to force them to do it. They've been asking every administration since Carter to do it, to go after them. But here's the thing. Like I said, my issue with the whole thing is wait and see, because we can't really affect anything one way or another. Our hemming and hawing is not going to do anything. And I only ever hope for success for Trump, because that would mean success for all of us. But the messaging has been very confusing, and that does not inspire a lot of confidence. And I don't necessarily like people reminding me that I'm not, me as an American citizen who, along with everybody else, pays for this fucking charade to go on with, at least 1/3 of our year's worth of work being stolen from us. So we have all these wonderful bombs. I know I'm not on a need to know basis, but can the messaging at least be on point? The other thing there too is, when it comes to just on a broadcast perspective, and you let me know what you think about this because it's 9:30 and I don't want to drag you past the bottom of the hour. But if this were 10 years ago...
You stay as long as you like, my friend. My understanding is when your lights turn off, it's time to get home to your family.
Yeah, well, in a minute. I'll get just this. I thought you had other guests coming on, but
I do. But they can wait a second, or I can bring them all in if you want. But
we should do that one night. But let me. Here's the last thing I want to ask you as a broadcaster, and everybody else at home as well, in my chat room and on the YouTube. If this were 10 years ago, I feel like people would show up for these broadcasts, your show, my show. They would show up 2016, 17, hungry for updates every night in larger and larger numbers. The crowds would just gather. Obviously we were all using just one platform back there because we hadn't been kicked off. But still, I feel like the energy is absolutely dead. And there is also, at the same time, for those who are paying attention to it, there is zero room for difference in opinion. It seems like everybody is not only fed up with war, but they're fed up with each other. Like this is not like happy gatherings anymore.
Dude, I couldn't, when this happened over the weekend, I couldn't look. I just had to laugh at what I was seeing on X, because everything was either the biggest cheerleading ever, or it was, we are all entering certain doom. I mean, to your point, it was black and white opinions, and you had to accept one or the other, or you're either some kind of boomer war hawk, or you're some kind of like commie mullah lover. Or, I don't know, but it was the whole thing. I think you're exactly right that number one, people are very worn out on politics. I get people emailing me all the time, or participating in this show and saying, I'm taking a break from politics because I'm so discouraged, which I get. I love politics. I assume you probably do too, Frank, since you do this so much. To me, in addition to the crafting of our country's future, it's also just entertainment. I love the theater of it, but I get why people need to check out, and I do too. So I think you couple those two things, like political fatigue with a highly divisive, depending on your preferred pronunciation, a divisive thing like war, and you have the recipe for just like the worst public attitudes. And I'm not mad at anybody who's discouraged by what's going on with this war. It's a high stakes, very important development. I'm not saying you're wrong to care very strongly about it. I just think in terms of public attitude and optimism, like you're talking about, Frank, it's kind of a perfect storm for that negativity right now.
It is. And I don't know, maybe that is just, maybe that's rooted in people's hopes for what the outcome could be long term, because we were a lot more hopeful and a lot more like, there's a lot more pep in our step back in 2017, because we were just like, let the bulldozer bulldoze.
Maybe that's it. People don't believe the bulldozer. And I think a lot of people are very tired of, no matter who I vote for, I end up with Middle Eastern wars too. That's a very, I can't blame anybody who's upset with that sort of perspective either.
But at the same time, we'll see. Yeah. Because we'll see.
Well, that's our friend, Quite Frankly. You can find him at quitefrankly.tv. The show, that's our friend Frank from Quite Frankly. Did I jumble that? Or I don't know.
Maybe.
My brain is rattled. Anyway, Frank from Quite Frankly. The show's live at.
Fuck it. Just fucking forget about it.
Hold on. Joe Biden is. I'm having a Joe Biden moment here. Quite Frankly, 321 quitefrankly.tv is where you find it. Show's live 7 Eastern. Frank, thanks for stopping by, man. I always appreciate you participating in the show.
Thank you.
Fuck you too.
Thank you so much. It's good to have it.
I'll do better on my promos next time.
Yeah, I know. There's just too much to do. Yeah. Again, thank you for having me. Thank you to all the wonderful people over on the Matt Christiansen channel that have embraced me in whatever capacity they have been. Remember, support this man, become a member of his YouTube channel or wherever the hell else you sign up, his Patreon or something. Love
Maddie's.k, MC Club. Yeah.
Keep him in business, please, ladies and gentlemen, because he's an OG and he puts the work in, and people like he and I are going to outlast all of the newbies that are coming in to rehash old conspiracy theories and just try to coast on work that so many others have done over the last 20 years or so. So when you see a good guy out there doing some good work, support him. And this guy's a good guy. So thank you, Matt.
Likewise, my friend, and all the best to you and your lovely family.
All right. Be well.
All right, there he goes, quitefrankly.tv. And like Frank is saying, man, Frank is one of the few trustworthy good dudes I've encountered in this space. And if you enjoy this show, I think you might really like Quite Frankly too, quitefrankly.tv. And please support his product as well, because I know he works really hard on it and does a great job. But I need to go get Joshy and Mark Aaron, who are hanging out, waiting to talk a few more news stories, and then we'll get into your calls and emails and some other stuff later in the show. So I will go get them. In the meantime, here's a word from our friends at Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing. Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing makes high-quality, handmade premium hardwood cutting boards, charcuterie boards, serving trays, and more, all of which are great gift options or the perfect piece to class up your kitchen or anywhere else in your home. Blake at Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing made me a cutting board engraved with my very own channel logo, and it looks amazing. It's been a part of our family kitchen for a long time now. It has not aged a bit. And in addition to the quality, that's the best part about Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing's products. They are fully customizable, not just in materials, but in engravings too. So if you'd like to personalize a gift like that one, that can be arranged. Or if you have any other custom hardwood project in mind, no matter how big or how small, Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing can make that a reality for you. Just get in touch at kineowood.com. All Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing products are made in Colorado from premium domestic hardwood sources. Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing is the absolute highest quality woodworking that will last you forever. Listeners of this show get 10% off all Kineo Mountain Woodsmithing products and services using promo code MATT10 at checkout. That's promo code MATT10 for 10% off everything at kineowood.com, KINEOWOOD.com, promo code MATT10 at checkout.
Stand back and stand by.
All right. Hello, gentlemen.
Good evening.
We've got Mark here. He is Canadian, but we do allow it.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Welcome back. And our favorite Nuga from Nuga is here as well. Joshy boy, appreciate you being here. All right. Frank and I kind of jumbled up my show plan a little bit in terms of topics. So we got through a little bit of Dan Crenshaw, a little bit of Jasmine Crockett, but I got plenty more to say on the primary in Texas last night. And we just left a conversation about Iran as well. And I don't know if you guys want to talk Iran or you just want to leave that. But you guys want to get back into the one thing I didn't get into is the guy who beat Jasmine Crockett, this fruitcake Talarico. You want to talk about him?
I have choice words for that guy.
I have a lot of opinions about Talarico, so let's get into that a little bit. Let me pull that up. And so Talarico is this up until now kind of this unknown state representative, Democrat in Texas. And he beat Jasmine Crockett by a fairly wide margin last night, so it wasn't even particularly close. But Talarico, I mean, I guess in the context of the Democrat Party, maybe he's not as abnormal as he seems. But it's not just that he's a fruitcake in presentation; it's that the guy has completely kooky views. And as we were talking about on the Discord earlier today, Joshy, it's like there's something even worse, much more insufferable about insane views that are wrapped in God, wrapped in supposed biblical principle.
What's that say? A Presbyterian? Oh, so he's Protestant. Okay.
Yes, yeah. So he's a Presbyterian seminarian. And
what the fuck is that?
Some kind of preacher, teacher. I don't know. I don't know what the term seminarian technically means.
Seminary.
Yeah,
because I know nothing about the guy, but the only thing I'd heard is that he's a moderate.
Well, you decide how moderate he is momentarily.
Anything.
Yeah,
sure, moderate.
So right. I only have a few clips of him because you could do an entire hour's worth. But here he is in the Texas House saying that God is non-binary.
Is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
Okay.
Oh,
so,
Lord, please. Just go ahead and stun the guy.
So it's a capital T, capital T on they, right? It's not capital H on he. But this is the one that really bothers me. I know this went viral a little while ago because he was on Joe Rogan's show.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about his view on abortion. And he is going to describe the pro-choice view from, as he says, the biblical perspective. That is to say, it's biblically permitted because God asked for Mary's permission to impregnate her.
But I say all this in context of abortion because before God comes over Mary and we have the incarnation, God asks for Mary's consent, which is remarkable. I mean, go back and read this in Luke. I mean, the angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do. And she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories that creation has to be done with consent. You cannot force someone to create. Creation is one of the most sacred acts that we engage in as human beings. But that has to be done with consent. It has to be done with freedom. And to me, that is absolutely consistent with the ministry and life and death of Jesus. And so that's how I come down on that side of the issue.
Look at this fat.
I have a lot of thoughts about that, so I invite you guys to chime in before I take a minute.
First of all, Yahweh does not need your permission to do anything. He didn't ask Gideon's permission to go deal with the Moabites. It was part of the Moabites or the Midianites. He didn't ask Abraham's permission to create ancient Israel, right? He doesn't need your permission. He look at Jonah, right? He told Jonah, go preach to, I think it was Nineveh. If I'm mistaken, somebody will correct me. But yeah, Nineveh. Go preach to Nineveh and tell them to repent. And Jonah actually tried to physically create some distance from there. And God was like, no, because he created a storm. He got tossed overboard by the people who were afraid. God had a big giant fish swallow him up and take him all the way back to Nineveh. It says, go preach to Nineveh, like I told you. So this permission, they don't worship the same God we do. They just don't.
He not only does he say he does, he claims to be at some level an expert in the scripture on it.
He's an expert on taking it up the butt.
Oh, jeez.
That's biblically permitted too.
There's nothing worse than woke Christians. I prefer a woke atheist, a woke, whatever other
it's more honest.
People there could be, but he may as well be Anglican, or there's a bunch of them that are just absolutely terrible. And Christian is a spectrum, just like God is a non-binary.
Look, I'm gonna behave this time and not chastise the Protestants like I usually do.
No, go for it.
But this is kind of y'all's fault,
wholeheartedly.
Right?
Yeah,
this is kind of y'all's fault. Y'all should have shut this shit down a long time ago. Okay.
Well,
this is what happens. You get gay priests, women priests, gay couples who can just participate.
All right. I mean, the Pope has his problems, but he's not that, I guess.
No, well, I will say the Pope is infinitely worse.
But that's the thing. You are a Protestant at heart, then.
I'm a Protestant at heart. No.
Yeah. If you're going to reject the papacy,
if you hate the Pope, that's the main criteria.
Well, we Orthodoxy also don't like the Pope either.
Yeah, no.
So it's not strictly a Protestant.
That's what I'm saying.
position.
You have more in common with the Protestants than you're granting. But
Only in that regard. But we're
only
not
in the fundamental principle.
Only in that regard.
But you're the OG hating the Pope. So
okay, yeah, you did it before it was cool. Maybe I don't know.
I'm part of the church that hates on the Pope.
I actually don't
Catholics.
Don't know the history of all that.
And it's very
people
long.
who
the
know all
Great
that stuff can
Schism.
inform me.
Yeah.
How does the Orthodox Church? What is the historical time frame as it relates to Martin Luther?
So
who was the first?
The Orthodoxy was because it was founded by Christ himself, right? The apostles taught what Christ taught them, and the church fathers and so on. And I'm kind of breezing through this because I'm under catechesis. I'm still learning this stuff myself.
Right.
But the reason why they called Orthodoxy was kind of distinguish themselves from heresies like the Cathars and everything else, or the Roman Catholic Church. So in that, it's a lot.
Basically, it was Orthodox, and then Catholicism, and then they had a great schism, and then way later was Martin Luther and Protestantism, which was a branch off of Catholicism that came much later than Orthodoxy. So we are the much too reformed bastard child of the original OG Orthodox guys. So trust me.
Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you,
I know people get upset that I basically chastise y'all, but I used to be Protestant myself. So this has kind of been a personal journey for me as
the
well.
error of my ways, I guess.
Yes, I will correct you at one point.
I want to talk about Talarico. Let's all agree that this guy sucks the most. Because
I'm
going
to
operate.
All right. He sucks more than just at politics. He sucks the dicks a lot.
What doesn't he suck? I'm going to operate within even the premise that God asked for Mary's permission, which scripturally I'm not sure is sound.
Yeah,
but
can someone look that up? He said it's in Luke, because I've never heard that verse.
But
God,
even
what did he say when God?
I don't know how.
God
Well, I guess
came
I'd have to
on top
read
of
his
her?
translation and how he's quoting it. But
basically, the angel Gabriel came down to Mary's and basically said, "Hey, you're blessed and everything. You're going to bear the Son of Man, the second in the Holy Trinity, right?" So he's basically saying this is how this is going to go down. There was no asking of permission, like I said before. Yahweh doesn't need your permission for anything.
Exactly. That is to say, if God needs your permission, he's not God. You are. So
right.
Even in the way he presented that and said, God asked her permission and she said, well, if it is God's will, then I shall do it. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another way of thinking about that is God's will is still paramount in that framing. That is to say, she didn't really have a choice, even as he described it, because if you want to do what's right, this is what must be done. Right and wrong are above you. You don't determine what right and wrong are by virtue of your choice. You were given a choice to do the right thing or the wrong thing, and she chose the right thing. Apply that logic to abortion, and let's see how it goes.
Even Christ in the Lord's Prayer says, "Thy will be done."
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so even part of God is like, no. It's not.
Well, and the really
consent. It's thy will.
The really evil thing in this is it presumes, of course, that that not every life has God-given purpose or God-given value. That is to say, the consent of the woman determines the God-given purpose of that life, or if it even has God-given purpose. Again, that makes you God. That doesn't make you subservient to God. That makes you God. And am I left to conclude in his description there of if a woman does not consent and after the fact, after the conception, aborts that child, did God have no will for that child? Did God make a mistake in that conception? God was neutral on whether that life had value until the woman made the determination about whether it did? The questions that follow from what he's saying are completely insane.
Well, because the basic implication is that the rapist is somehow God and needed to ask for consent, and if he got consent, then that would have been like God getting consent. The whole thing is pretty flawed. But it goes down to the fundamental building block of wokeism, which is that you are God. Like even in his analogy for God being non-binary, you say because God is everything, that reduces it to like someone who's gender confused. Like, okay, well they are a part of the universe as well. So then everything is God and the devil is God and nothing matters. So there you go.
Yeah, it's basically just the worship of the self.
I'm just glad. Yeah, exactly. And if you think that God's purposes are defined by your choices, that you have to think that. There's no way of getting out of that. And I'm glad this is all a philosophical, theological exercise, and this guy has no chance of winning in Texas, which is great. We don't have to worry about that nonsense in the Senate. But critical mass of Democrats and that dude got like 1.2 million votes last night or something like that.
All of them retarded. Every last one of them retarded, and every last one of them.
And as you were saying, like if you're pro-choice, pro-abortion, however you want to describe it, you are in favor of the legal ability to kill a child in utero. The people who are just straight up godless and say, I don't believe that life has inherent value. I don't believe there is a God that gave it value. I think we're all just coincidental collections of atoms that happen to be this way through the cosmic forces. So there really is no moral component to killing that kid. It's wrong, but at least it's more honest for this guy to use scripture to talk about how killing babies is acceptable or possibly even good.
Yeah,
it is insufferable to listen to, and what's crazy is in the CNN coverage here. At least I don't know how correct it is in terms of what his appeal is, but they said that he gained a following after making his faith a prominent focus of his messaging. So this bit that he has of taking the scripture and progressivizing it is attracting people, at least in the primary. It's not going to win in the general, but it is attracting people, which is even more concerning.
Yeah. Well, there's a weird, obviously, Democrats the atheists preaching about Jesus to you, and Jesus is a communist, and he says you got to love the Palestinians because they're your neighbors, and immigrants are your neighbors, and you got to love your neighbors. There's nothing worse than people who don't believe something preaching it at you. But there's also, I think, a trend in the Democrat Party to like be this kind of faux Christian. Like I think when they see that they're losing the culture war, they're just trying to like put on the Christian skin suit, and this is their play for like, oh no, we're moderate, we're like Bible believing people. We just believe that the Bible agrees with us on everything.
Yeah. And the thing is, I like how he tried to gaslight it. First of all, he also missed the resurrection. He said the life and death of Jesus. He said the birth, life, death, and resurrection of Christ our Lord, right? But he also tries to gaslight everybody. It says, I think Christians deep down are actually more pro-choice than they think they are. It says, no, we're not.
I think the opposite is true, actually, when you really start analyzing the logic of it.
Yeah, no, it's really annoying. And for me, it's this that always struck me. I don't know if anyone else has said this, but I've always said, isn't that like what is actually meant by blasphemy? Is when someone uses like, oh, Jesus says this, but it's completely not.
Or using the Lord's name in vain. It's not necessarily. Like, God damn it, it's mischaracterizing.
Jesus endorses me, and it's total bullshit. It's like that's blasphemy, and you should.
That is indeed blasphemy.
Okay. Well, there probably will be justice for these people one day.
We're even taught to guard against these type of people. Like keep on the lookout, call them out as they are. This is what the people are.
Yeah. Talarico is going to lose to either Cornyn, the incumbent senator, John Cornyn, or the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton. They are running against each other in the primary. Neither one of them got a majority of votes, so they're headed toward a runoff in May unless one of them quits. But Trump is now calling on one of them to quit because he's going to make it actually saying, I'm going to make an endorsement soon, and the one I don't endorse, I'm calling on you to quit because we can't have this contest drawn out. We have to win this Texas Senate seat so Democrats don't get it. I understand he wants a unified party. I get all that. However, I'm not, if this goes until the end of May and these guys settle it, then I'm not worried that Talarico is going to win in Texas, but that's what's going on there.
Yeah. Okay.
You know who else?
If you have the time for like a 1 minute, because I'm totally confused about what's going on in Texas. Is there more than one? Because I know that there's like the Democrats and the Republicans are each having their primaries, but then I heard about the other guy who I believe I just heard a clip. Is it the AK guy? Didn't he win something?
No, he didn't win. But
is that a different election?
You're exactly right. No, it's all the primaries in Texas for they have an open Senate seat, or not an open one, and the incumbent is running, but they have a Senate election this year, and that all of their members of Congress that's what this election was, the primaries for both parties for Congress. So there's a Republican in that seat. His name is Tony Gonzalez, and Tony Gonzalez, I haven't followed his sex scandal very closely, but it's something about having an affair with a staffer, and she lit herself on fire.
Okay.
Accidentally? No, it was suicide. It was what's the term? Self-immolation or whatever it is.
She was like being all female and like doused herself, but then accidentally lit it.
Maybe they're saying a county medical examiner ruled it was suicide, is what this reporting says.
Okay, maybe I've been misinformed.
But
Brandon, that was very odd.
Brandon Herrera, the AK guy, goes by the AK guy in his social media presence. He is challenging him in this district. He actually got the plurality of the votes yesterday, 43 to 41. But because under Texas law, unless somebody gets a majority of votes, then the top two candidates go to a runoff in May. So I assume that's what's going to happen here. But yeah, your guy, Brandon Herrera, could very possibly be a congressman sometime very soon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, this is the first Gen X or millennial, first non-boomer on the Republican
There have been, he can't be the first. No, there have been some young members of Congress, right? Look at AOC. She's,
yeah, I was going to say, but on our side.
Look, I was also going to point out that Muslim communist up in New York City.
Yeah, they got a bunch.
You're talking about Mondani? He wasn't in Congress though.
Oh, we did have Crenshaw.
That's fair.
Crenshaw's pretty young. Yeah, Crenshaw's a couple years younger, or a couple years older than me. I think he's like 40 or 41.
Does he qualify as our side?
Well, he did it once upon a time. You know who was almost ousted? You know who else is going to a runoff is Al Green, the cane-shaking Geico caveman.
I had to remember who he was. Like I tried my hardest.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't remember who this guy is.
He's the guy who interrupted the State of the Union a couple times. He shook his cane last year, and then this year he held up the sign "Black people aren't apes."
Or rent apes. Basically.
Rent apes.
Rent apes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember him for anything other than like causing a scene and having the same name as a famous guy.
Yeah. Yes, that's pretty much his entire bit. Now, Texas redrew its congressional map to much controversy, and because of that, he is now competing against another incumbent, another Democrat. They have to compete against each other for the same district, and so he's headed to a runoff too. So I didn't have to do an I Will Remember Al Green montage tonight, but sometime soon I might have to. But we got about 5 minutes before the top of the hour, and Joshy, I promised you I had several entries from the chronicles of KTLA antics. I would say KTLA Americans, but this guy's a KTLA Scot. Did you see the grinning?
Not Scottish.
Oh, he is. He's a Scotland man. He's a Scotland stabber.
Man, yeah.
Yeah. This is Edinburgh, right? Is how the Scottish say it. Edinburgh. Edinburgh, Scotland on Monday. A stabber went on a stabbing spree in a shop, a school, and an apartment building. And eventually he was barricaded in that apartment building. And he stood up there with this sinister grin, just looking down on everybody. They did arrest him.
Oh my God.
They charged him with 2 attempted murders, meaning, I don't know what he was grinning about. He didn't actually succeed in his murder quest, in his stabbing quest.
They're just going to let him go. That's why he's grinning.
He's probably already out. He's probably grinning away somewhere else right now. But okay, get this though. The suspect, it's not just his name, Mustafa Kokone. This guy is 23. My ass.
That motherfucker is 23. There is no fucking way. That dude's got to be in his 40s. That is the oldest.
23.
That's a hard life right there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Lord
I believe
have
that these guys do have it really rough.
Well, I say he's a Scottish man because he supplied an Edinburgh address. And it's not just for that reason. Nobody seems to know where he's from. Some have reported that he's from Libya. Others have reported that he's from Chad. Nobody really knows.
He looks Chadian.
Maybe. He's got a Chad grin, that's for sure.
That dude is, oh my goodness. 23 is lying to me. Okay?
Oh, for sure. Those are some deep wrinkles in his. He's been smiling a lot for 23 years, I guess. Because those wrinkles are cut in there. Yeah.
They must age real poorly if that motherfucker is 23 years old.
Yeah. Well, did you see the Smoothie King event?
I actually did. I did have a little bit of commentary for this one.
Okay.
But I'll let you.
If anybody missed, in Ann Arbor, Michigan, 2 KTLA American employees refused service to a man because he was wearing a Trump hoodie, and the video went viral.
Yeah, we're at Smoothie King, and they're discriminating and saying we cannot get service because Jake has a Trump service on.
Okay, well, you said you were going to leave, so please just have a great day and leave so we can continue what we're doing.
We were just wanting a smoothie, and you literally looked at us, and I asked you if everything was okay. You said we don't feel comfortable serving you because of my husband's hoodie. Yes. That is discrimination.
Okay, well, have a great day.
Good luck maintaining your employment.
I don't care. Have a great day.
When your company is charged, yeah, you will.
So literally, Jake's wearing his hoodie. They would not serve us because Jake's wearing a Trump hoodie.
We have the right to refuse service here, and that's what we
Not
did.
due to political views, though. Not due to political views.
You asked her what was wrong, and she said that she was uncomfortable,
it's a
right or
crime.
wrong?
It's all right.
You asked the question, and she answered, have a great day. Have a great day. The door is right there. Have a great day.
How embarrassing.
It's not against the law, ho. Fuck you.
It is kind of against the law, though, at least in Ann Arbor. You can't discriminate for political reasons under Ann Arbor City Code.
Okay.
But
so,
yeah, it is technically legal, but whoever enforces it, right? That's the real
she
question.
did get fired. Smoothie King Corporate responded by firing the 2 workers. And did you see the follow-up videos that she made?
I did not.
So first of all, she went to GoFundMe.
First of all, that's fun. That's not that face.
That's a rough one. Yeah.
Please fix it.
That's why she has the braces. She's fixing it, dude. I think she is young, in fairness. She does say in this video she's a minor, so I believe she's under 18. A teenage worker who probably made a poor decision, sounds like. She tried to raise money on GoFundMe, and I'm unclear, but it looks like GoFundMe banned her campaign. Though that seems unlike GoFundMe to do. She had one, and then it's no longer there, so maybe it got deleted.
Yeah.
But she was on social media after the fact, encouraging everyone. She says all the racists have come to get her, and she needs everyone's help getting the original post taken down.
Okay, guys, so I might have accidentally started a race war, but you guys need to go to her Facebook and get this video taken down. I am a minor and she recorded me without my permission. The people in the comments are all white and they're all being hella racist. Guys, please help me get this video taken down. She recorded me without my permission. Guys, and what's crazy is she low-key, like, she literally looks Hispanic. Like, I don't know what the issues going on here, but literally, so after I left work, my coworker called me and was like, basically all the higher ups are there, and yeah, like, it's low-key cooked. I might be fired. Guys, please help me get this taken down.
I don't think nothing's funny about it.
Let me explain something.
I didn't speed that up, by the way. That's how, I don't know if she sped it up or if she's just like on cocaine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna learn y'all something again, right? If they seem like they're glossing over a lot of stuff, chances are they're being dishonest. Because she's like, low-key guys, like, this person looked really Hispanic. First of all, you're just reinforcing a stereotype that we just don't like the Latinos, which is partially
and the
true,
Asians. Don't
right?
forget about the Asians.
And the Asians, yes. But the thing that I was kind of going off of what your stance was on refusing services, like a company has the right to do it,
which I am in favor of, but I have some detail on this. Yeah.
Well, if it's company policy,
right?
That's what I'm getting to. On the one hand, if it's your private business, you have a right to refuse anybody you want to because it's your business.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, these guys are working for Smoothie King, and you have to kind of follow store policy. So.
Yeah, they ain't the boss.
Yeah, you're not the boss. If it was your little smoothie shop or whatever, like KK's slamming
one more K,
or whatever.
one more K.
They forgot.
Then fine, I wouldn't actually give a shit about this, right? It's like just go shop somewhere else then. But since it's Smoothie King that's corporate because we got them everywhere, you do have to follow store policies. So at least they got fired. I thought I would have more to say on this, but apparently I don't. So.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. So I will agree with that. That's the distinction. Is it's not there to determine. People compare him to Jack Phillips, the cake baker guy. Well, he had a right not to bake the gay cake. Jack Phillips owns the shop. In addition to, they were trying to compel Jack Phillips to provide a message. There's not really a message component of this. But yeah, if it was their Smoothie King shop, then as a matter of morality, I would not have a problem with refusing service, even though the law might have something different to say about that.
But that's my question is, I guess it can get really intricate when you could have municipal bylaws that say you have to serve people regardless of political affiliation. I know there's been some push even in Washington, D.C. to have that passed as either state or municipal, that you can't, that political affiliation would be a protected class, which I'm kind of for, because I'm all for like people having the right to freely associate with whoever they choose. But at the same time, I think that there are valid and invalid, believe it or not, forms of discrimination and political affiliation.
First loving property tax, now this. What the?
Well,
all right.
I guess I'm more or less on Mark's side on this. But then,
you can fuck off.
I mean, if I like, for instance, despite what Jasmine Crockett said, I do want to be a farmer, right?
I know you're the one. She needs to talk to you because Joshy does want to pick the cotton, actually.
Well, if I wanted to have my own little children of KTL descent, right, going out picking cotton while I sit on my porch with a shotgun saying, y'all boys better get back on to work, you'll end up like Johnny.
Yeah,
right?
amazing.
I can do that. But at the same time, the type of farm that I want, it's going to be a black for better words, a Christian ran farm. I wouldn't host any gay weddings or anything like that. But I also wouldn't host any communist parties or get-togethers. So I was like, communists, can't do that here. So I guess I'll also be politically discriminating against people.
Yeah. Okay, we're past the top of the hour. Our callers, I will be with you momentarily, but there's just one more episode here that I want to highlight. So outside of Chicago, the founder and executive director of Illinois Black Lives Matter, his name is Clyde McLemore, has been caught on video beating a female employee. Or did he get beaten? Because I think it's debatable. Watch the video. Tell me who you think wins this fight. He's not a stabber American, but he is apparently a puncher American. There's no sound in this video. So he has the upper hand to start.
Jeez.
But she fights her way back here. He's on the ground there. He gets back up. She gets him back on the ground here shortly.
Oh my God, bro.
And
what is he doing?
I don't know,
what
but
kind of technique is that? Is it like,
I'm pretty sure she kicked his ass.
I need to see that again.
I can put it up again.
Just
let's
analyze. Let's go about
doing with his arms.
Let's do the play-by-play on this one.
It seems like he's just trying to hold her to start, but then as far as how and why he ends up on the ground, I don't know. He does throw a few punches.
I know why. Okay, so stop. Right?
You want me to pause it? I can do that.
Yeah, just pause it.
Hold on. I can do it. Where do you want me to pause?
So no. The reason why he kind of loses the fight, his pants are sagging. He doesn't have a proper stance. You can't run with sagging.
He doesn't have a stable base, man.
Yeah, punch with sagging pants.
Look, obviously he doesn't know what a belt is because he never got beat with one. But come on.
You also on a first observation, I don't know what I even lost the context here. Is he being charged? Because I think it looks like he's trying to just stop her from hitting him. I can't imagine how a man could be that have that kind of size differential and get his ass whooped.
Maybe he didn't get his ass kicked. He just surrendered. However, it doesn't require him to be on the ground. That's the thing I can't figure out. But let me give you the full context.
Yeah,
drugs.
Possibly.
What is he? Did he get a toxicology?
I don't know about that, but it happened in January. Police were dispatched to this facility. They received a call about battery. Presumably, she called or someone else did about her. Macklemore, the male there, he told police that this employee, again, this is Black Lives Matter Illinois, Naisha Hill, had approached him at work and asked him for money and cigarettes. And he told Hill that the organization, quote, ain't got no money, so he couldn't pay her because all the grant money is gone. So that's a good development.
Okay.
Then they fought. And Hill told police that Macklemore owed her money for her work. Okay, so Hill is the female employee. Okay. Macklemore is the male employee. Hill told police that Macklemore owed her money for her work and accused him of embezzling the grant money. Quote, I told him it's not fair that I come here and I work and you running around taking care of other things that don't... This is difficult to read the
translation.
Sorry.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I come here and I work and you running around taking care of other things that don't got nothing to do with Black Lives Matter with Black Lives Matter money. I'm the one that make this joint work, Naisha Hill told officers. Now, here's the part. As far as charges, Hill decided not to press charges because she, quote, does not want to see a black man in jail. So she's doing her part to fix the racist crime statistics.
Because Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
She's committed to the cause.
She's a real one, you know? Yeah. She's sticking to her guns.
I'm assuming that this is a nonprofit, correct?
Black Lives Matter generally is, but I don't know. I don't know about this particular chapter.
Well, typically
she should have just asked for a house instead of cigarettes and money.
But typically, whenever you're working for a nonprofit organization, there will be times where you're simply not paid for your work because the money has dried up. Right? I'm not trying to create an excuse for this guy in particular, but I've worked for a nonprofit. My mother has worked for a nonprofit. There were times when the employees just weren't paid because just the money just wasn't there. They're working solely off of grant money. Right.
Well, I know Black Lives Matter grants have dried up everywhere, rightfully so, because it was almost all corrupt, almost all did nothing to help anybody other than the people running the organization. So,
right. Well, so I'm going to go with that. They're both right. He's right that there's no more money, and she's right because he embezzled it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You solved it.
Pretty much, yeah. But at the same time, when she was talking about, look, I know I'm black and I'm supposed to be speaking Ebonics, but I graduated from school, so. The thing is that when she says he's doing things that have nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, I'm sorry, but you do need white people to help you. There's no way around that because wait a minute, before
you need a white boss at this chapter. Yeah.
Were you demonetized when you played that hotline video on?
No, shockingly, no, I was not.
You think I can risk it?
Are you going hard R?
Not hard R.
Yeah, I think soft A. Just,
soft A is good. Look,
measured. Drop them carefully.
Yeah, I will drop it. But niggas don't want to help people. Okay, that's it. You need white people to help you. I'm sorry.
There you go. You want a successful charity? It takes you need white skills to do it, I guess.
Not even white skills. You just need rich white people who are suckers for that kind of thing.
All right.
liberal white women have a purpose. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's to give a bunch of money to Black Lives Matter people running charities and scamming into mansions and buying nice cars, and then running out of money and not paying their employees and getting their asses kicked. That is the purpose of liberal
That's
white
exactly
women.
how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we got to get into the calls. Snuggly Love Muffin is up first. You guys want to hop in the Discord? Actually, we got that set up.
I'm there.
All right.
Hold on.
I'll get Snuggly.
Do I join the live room?
Yeah, join the live room. Snuggly, are you there?
I sure am.
We got to get everybody
Can you
else
hear
in
me?
here. Give us just a
I can hear
second.
you, Joshy.
Okay, cool.
Mark will be in just a second. But,
What's up, my ninja? Oh
It's
my
just
god,
asking
I'm
me
so
if I
happy.
wanna allow my mic.
All it took to replace Blonde was
Oh,
a
I think because I'm in
bass
Chrome.
Wait, hold on.
Instead of the app.
Yeah, Mark is. We're waiting for Mark right now. So I got two people talking.
I
Over
should
each
be
other.
there.
Don't know what the fuck they're doing.
But I'm for some reason it
Too much.
took me in
Too
through
much.
Chrome and not the app.
My bad. I'll tell me.
Okay, well, tell you what,
Says I'm
Snuggly.
there.
Mark, how about just hang out till you get in the live room and just let Snuggly go, and we'll catch up with you after it. All right. Snuggly, sorry to talk over you. What do you got for us?
Oh, last time I talked to you guys, we were talking about Spain and the craziness going on over there, and people thinking long term. And as I was listening to Frank talk earlier, it seems like a lot of people are glossing over some of the big long-term Trump victories.
Okay.
He basically got rid of BRIC. That was going to be a potential catastrophe for our economy. He's put us in a good position, and God only knows if Trump had anything to do with that positioning, or if it just the time was right. But taking down these regimes it's risky politically, but like he's followed through and he's done a good job. So I don't see why people are bitching so much, I guess.
It's still too soon to say that it was a good move, right? Because remember, we're thinking long term down the road, it could be a disaster. But right now, it seems good, right? But what about foreseeable future? What about tomorrow? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't see anything really turning sour. It seems like, I mean, even
Not right.
Qatar is starting to hit Iran with airstrikes. Seems like basically the entire region just turned on Iran.
Well, it was kind of a strange strategy. I know Iran is sort of a crazy place with crazy leaders. And I understand that once Khamenei is ousted, you're going to be really pissed off and you're just going to probably attack everyone you hate. But man, did they cast a wide net with their retaliation. And it seems like everybody surrounding them is pissed off at them now and is also hitting them.
Well, part of the reason is because places like Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, they're technically our allies, and they want to be on good terms with us. From what I've seen, I was watching a Tucker Carlson upload yesterday. Kind of had to break it up because I had to go to work, but he mentioned that some of these Gulf countries are indeed our allies, and that's probably why they're also striking Iran, because we do have bases there.
These are the ones who did like the Abraham Accords with Israel and are supposedly moderate, right? Because I just to be callous, I was like, wow, this is what a great fringe. Sorry, am I? Can you guys hear me? Am I in the,
yeah, I got you.
You know, I thought what a great fringe benefit to bombing Muslims is that they bomb more Muslims.
Yeah,
but I guess
there's amplification. Yeah,
when you're the Shah, I guess everybody is an infidel who's not as extreme as you. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a fringe benefit that they'll bomb other.
Well, Snuggly, let me leave you with. It seems like you're pretty optimistic on what's going on here. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what do you think the best case scenario for the next few months, the next year looks like? How is Iran going to play out in a way that is beneficial and is going to prove the doomers wrong, if it's fair to characterize your perspective that way?
Well, as a Christian, I believe that we lose and then we win. So I'm kind of whatever happens. I am optimistic. I think what I hope is the same thing that I hope. I worked with a lot of Venezuelans when Trump took out Maduro. I celebrated with them. We were texting and it was a good time. And so I don't know any Iranians, but I imagine that hopefully they'll take their country back and I don't know what this prince is all about, I don't know if he has any support.
Is he? I've seen the name floating around. Is he an actual member of the former monarchy? Is that his deal or what? Like, why is he referred to with a royal title?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know much. All I know is they call him. Was it Prince Erdogan? Whatever his name is.
I've just seen Prince whatever. I didn't know if it was Erdogan. He has the same name as the Turkey guy.
Oh no, is that? I'm thinking of someone else.
Oh.
No, there's apparently there's some rightful heir to the throne down there.
In Venezuela?
There should be.
No,
Iran.
Iran.
Oh, Iran.
Because
so
it's
there
been,
is
what,
a chance.
46 years or something since they were ousted. Like there should still be some family line.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that it becomes a monarchy.
Yeah, they overthrew one back in '79.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So I know we were joking about that, but that might be a real.
No, I'm dead serious. Because I know you've been a little Iran skeptical, and for the same reasons that I have been. But the monarchy could be made great again.
Yes. It may be an infidel monarchy, but it's still a monarchy.
Something's going for it.
Well, were they I don't know anything about the previous monarchy, but were they even Islamic or were they?
Yeah, much of that was still
secular?
Islamic. I would say it's Islamic.
But this specific one,
if they were Islamic, they were a lot more modernized.
Yeah, well, I mean, because the Islamists had motivation to overthrow them, right? So they must not have been too similar. But that's the best analogy. I don't know if anyone has heard different, but really that Trump didn't start this war; he's just finishing an old one and kind of restoring fucked up foreign policy from decades past. And there's a lot of that. I think we could.
It's a lot more complicated than we're giving it credit for. I will say that.
Yeah.
Despite my
feelings, or simple, we the CIA fucked around back then, and this is wasn't the movie Argo about that when that happened?
I didn't see that one. That's a
Ben
movie.
Affleck directed movie where I think it was 78, something like that, and they took over the American embassy, and there was a bunch of all the American diplomats were trapped there for a long time. That was during the revolution, I believe, in the 70s. It's an interesting story, but yeah, we went in there, we messed around, and then we got the extremists in power, and they've been there for 40 years, and we kind of owe them to liberate them.
Snuggly, appreciate your call. Quick last word if you want it. Otherwise, I'll wish you a good night.
The Reza Pahlavi is the eldest son of the last Shah.
There you go.
He seems to be tight with Trump, and if Trump has control over the Venezuelan oil markets, the Iranian oil markets, and the American oil markets, then China's in for a hell of a wake-up call. So hopefully it's good long term. Hopefully it's good long term.
I hope it works out that way. Thank you for the call, man.
No problem. Bye.
But also, I don't know if either of you guys had heard about this. Heard that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
What was that?
Well, Turles, I'm going to let Mark finish a thought, and then I'll come to you. All right.
Yeah, it's just about the last caller that I had heard that really Trump's motivation for going into Venezuela was to secure that oil in advance of doing this Iran thing, in case they were going to do what they're doing now with closing the Strait of Hormuz, and that it's all one big play.
Yeah. I would assume that there's a reason that a lot of these things are happening in a relatively tight time frame, and there's got to be some connecting principle relationship. I don't, other than a lot of the stuff that people in the White House are saying is confusing to me. There's got to be something weaving it all together. But Turles, what do you got
than
for
Israel?
us? Yeah, well, yeah,
it's only Israel.
Oh, come on. Now, I'm not going to agree with that.
Boo, Jews.
I don't know. Well,
yay, Jews.
Yep. No. I guess I lean on the yay Jews side of things. I'm not like committed to that, but
yeah.
But no, I think they're a very interesting strategic ally. I think it's worth talking about these days. I didn't hear what the caller before me was talking about, so maybe you guys were already discussing this a little bit, but
he was talking about the more long-term victories for Trump, and generally more optimistic than I think some of us are.
Well, no, I'm kind of optimistic too.
I wouldn't even say that I'm. Oh, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say I have a lot of confidence. Based on what I've seen out of Trump's foreign policy, the way that he uses the military, I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt in terms of the overall strategy. He's definitely not going to get into Iraq mode. He's not George W. Bush. I don't think any serious person could really disagree with that much. But yeah, I think overall, there is risk, of course, and that we have to take that seriously. And we certainly have to have as commander in chief, he has to have some clear-sighted objectives that he wants to achieve. A lot of interesting, progression already. It is interesting how quickly we achieved air supremacy in the area, and that's huge.
I saw
which was supposed to be impossible. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah,
some video of their drones on the news today, and I know they weren't the highest tech, but these things are silly. They have like wood propellers and stuff.
Right.
I can't believe these things even work. They're drones, but they do, I guess. They're capable of delivering, either spying or delivering some sort of weaponry.
Yeah. And I'm glad that a lot of that is coming to light now, because for so long we've had people, kind of what has become sort of the Tucker Carlson wing of things, who have implied that Iran was this terrifying, monstrous entity that if we dared mess with them, they would eat our lunch. That they would just devastate us, and that is clearly not the case. Now, you might ask at that point, well, then maybe if they weren't such a big threat, we didn't have to do this in the first place. But I think that's why the conversation routinely circles back to their attempts to develop nuclear capacity. It's worth pointing out that unlike Saddam Hussein, even if Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, he was not part of an apocalyptic Islamic death cult. So even for him, the likelihood that he actually uses them in the same ways that these guys would is totally different. Maybe it's not fully explained often enough, but that is one of the reasons why it's not just like any other nation. It's not just like any other world power gaining nuclear weapons, even North Korea, right? North Korea is dangerous, but they are not part of a apocalyptic, hyper fundamentalist religious death cult that absolutely would use nuclear bombs regardless of the consequences. So that's an important distinction to make.
Yeah, like I was saying on Sunday, I know I kind of laughed and mocked Trump for saying, well, all those other disasters weren't me. And, it's kind of a funny thing to say when you appear to be repeating some past mistakes. But there is truth to what you're saying. Not every enemy is exactly the same. And there are a lot of different ways that you could conduct a campaign in any particular conflict or war that will drastically change the outcomes. Look at World War II and think about every decision that was made, moving troops here, storming this, dropping them there. What if instead of those, the paths that were taken, you made completely different decisions and the war ended a completely different way precisely because of the leadership decisions that were made? So it comes off as silly when it's like, yeah, I'm the only one who knows how to do it right. I'm the only one who's tried real communism. But it's actually not a completely silly point, because there's a lot of variability in different countries, and there's a lot of variability in how leadership, military leadership is conducted and military strategy is conducted.
Absolutely.
Well, wasn't one of the biggest fears with Iran, not necessarily Iran itself, even though they are formidable, but that they would inspire allies like Russia would get involved, China would get involved, and we'd kind of like that it would kick off a larger conflict?
Well, they were shaping up to be the next Axis powers accordingly, right? Just like with Nazi Germany, fascist Italy, and Imperial Japan way back when. So that was speculation. This speculation was made like maybe a few years ago. So that's probably why the people were afraid of Russia and China acting, because they're kind of in cooperation with each other to some degree.
So it is interesting that neither of them have kind of done anything that I've seen so far. I mean, it's good that I guess Russia is occupied, but what's China doing?
I think to some extent, if they achieved 2 nuclear arms, there is a better chance that China and Russia come to their that they ally with them, because now you have a much stronger unified front. As it is, because they don't have nukes, defending them might just not be worth it to them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Turles,
I got to let you go, but do you have a book recommendation or anything? I want to give you a last word. Yeah.
Let me just get you with last week I recommended Raymond Ibrahim's Sword and Scimitar, so I'm just going to stick with Raymond and also recommend Defenders of the West, the Christian heroes who stood against Islam. So this talks about a lot of guys like Richard the Lionheart, El Cid, Godfrey of Bouillon, Vlad the Impaler. So all of these guys.
What's the name again of the book?
It's called Defenders of the West, the Christian heroes who stood against Islam.
All right,
great book. Well, and by the way, we as an unabashed Protestant, we don't claim Talarico. I just want to go on record.
Well, that doesn't matter. You guys are so divided, so it doesn't matter if you claim him or not. He's still part of your sect.
All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, if Catholics were so unified, we wouldn't have schisms in the first place, now would we?
Well, that's the Catholics. I'm not
see, the only problem with Orthodox is that they're right about everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Turles. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later.
See ya, man.
Okay.
Do you put these like in the description? Because I do want to check out some books he recommends.
Not necessarily. But yeah, just jot it down. What was the? I forgot the name.
The first one was
Defenders of the West.
Defenders of the West.
Defenders of the West, which sounds like horseshit. But anyway, Sword and Scimitar sounds interesting to me. I should have written it down, but I didn't have a notepad on me. Oh well.
Squigglies, are you there?
Howdy.
What's on your mind, sir? Is this your first time calling in? I know you're in the Discord server, but I don't know if you've called before. Have you?
I have. It's been a long time. I rarely get to listen live.
Hang on. You're coming in really loud for me.
Not for me. So the hell with Joshy. You talk exactly the way you want, and you'll be fine. What do you got for us?
Cool. I feel like I'm the only person that seems to remember Iran declaring total war on us like last year. Or the year before.
I thought has always been their stance, was death to America.
Yeah, that's always been their stance. It's not new.
So
yeah, but I think they actually did declare it like 2 years ago.
Really, like a formal vote or whatever it is.
So this is a.
They didn't do it. It was like a week, and then they did nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's item one. Item two, and this is just a slight clarification for us getting involved. I believe it was Chris Cappy did a video on this where Iran has had a standing order, like a standing stance of something overly dramatic like Ring of Fire or something like that, where once they are attacked, their plan was to just throw missiles at every nation they are remotely hostile to as a form of deterrence.
Yeah,
so
which
did not,
it looks like that's what they just did.
And so if Israel was already planning a strike or someone else was already planning a strike and we did not jump in and make sure that it was an overwhelmingly effective strike, it would have put U.S. service members at undue risk, more so than was already going to happen. So there is a little bit more reasonably to the strike.
Yeah, I get that explanation. I don't even think it's illogical. My problem, I guess, with the way that premise is being pushed back on is that at least the reporting I've seen or the coverage I've seen about Rubio is saying, no, he didn't say that Israel forced our hand, which is the way people were interpreting it. And taken the way that you're describing, I get how that's different from just say like they gave us an order and we enacted the order. It's a rational response to something that someone else is doing. It's not an order in that way. However, to me, it still grants the premise that our strategy is in response to someone else. But maybe you just in an international world with militaries doing all kinds of crazy things all the time. I guess what else is new? You're always responding to what other people are doing. You're not always driving the car. You are reacting to what other people are doing too. Yeah. So maybe that's the way to interpret it. I don't know.
Also, Rubio is not always the smartest person around. So, don't always take everything everybody says for gospel.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, that's all I need.
all right. Well, I appreciate your call. Thanks for your thoughts. And you have any final word you want to offer? Or you just want me to bid you good night?
Nah, I'm all good.
All right. Have a great night, man. Appreciate it.
This was his first time calling in, correct?
No, he just hasn't called for a while.
Oh,
so,
okay. Well,
he's in
welcome
the
back.
Discord server, though, the MC Club Discord server.
Yeah, I think I've seen him before. Welcome
so,
back.
That'll be it for calls tonight. Speaking of the MC Club, hey, have you considered joining it? Well, you should. Here's why. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the duct tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description. Okay, we are going to... I see some super chatters. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for supporting the show. I am going to hold the super chat until the end of the stream here, I think, because we just have a few of them. So we'll knock those out at the end of the stream. Appreciate your patience, and thanks for supporting the show. And we will get into some voicemails here and emails. And as a reminder, if you would like to participate in the show by sending an email or leaving a voicemail, you can do that through the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. All the information is right there for you to do that. But let's start with some voicemails. I got one from Concerned Non-Citizen, and he is calling with clarification about how to pronounce the name of that Middle Eastern country.
Hey, Matt, Concerned Non-Citizen. Regarding Qatar versus Qatar, my brother worked over there for a couple years. He left saying Qatar. He returned saying Qatar. So I think it's Qatar.
Well, thank you for the call. And as long as it's not Qatar, like I heard on the news on Sunday, then
I'll allow it.
The problem is it's Arabic, so we're all saying it wrong. It's probably like Qatar.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like
It's probably that's probably what it is.
What?
That
Say it, do it
little,
again,
that
do it
little,
again.
that little thing that they always do.
Yeah, it's
The little,
Yeah.
But it's
not
Qatar.
Qatar, it's
Qatar.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Qatar.
Okay.
There you go. You got to do like, it sound like you about to.
That's the problem.
upchuck
It's
something.
like, yeah, they're gonna say things different.
But because I'm always right and I'm brilliant and smart and humble, it's Qatar.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
As long as it's not Qatar, that's the line I draw. No,
Qatar.
It's
two
not
words.
cat turd and it's not
Yeah.
Qatar.
Sounds
Okay.
it sounds Qatarded.
Thank you for the clarification, Concerned Non-Citizen. We got one during the show tonight from Splicing Wolf, who is a full, at least that's what the transcript says to me, Splicing Wolf, who's a first-time caller. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Matt, Splicing Wolf here, first-time caller, so quick shout-out to all our fellow Jersey listeners. So my question is this: what's your take on the initial hearing for the 2A ownership and drug possession case after arguments on Tuesday? Do you think a win, air quotes, for 2A advocates is actually more of a loss for owners down the line, with the likelihood of users abusing both firearms and drugs and weakening 2A advocacy because of it? Just want to hear your thoughts, and thanks.
Thanks. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you joining the show, especially first-time callers. That's great. And I have to punt this one a little bit. I have not followed the case at all, so I gather that there is a challenge to the federal law that prohibits people who are abusers of drugs or users of illegal drugs from possessing firearms. As far as the arguments in that case and whether you in fact have a Second Amendment right to arm yourself despite the drug use, I assume is what's at issue there. And then whether or not, first of all, I have followed this so little that I'm not even sure in what court this is in. Is this a Supreme Court case? I have to Google it.
Well, First of all, if somebody,
I was just going to ask,
are they former drug abusers or something, or current?
Okay, let's. This is at the Supreme Court, so
anyone with a record, right?
I have no excuse for not following this more closely, but here, let me pull up the full context so we can get into this with a little more accuracy here.
Yeah, that would be the distinction I would make.
But so it has to do with the definition of a current drug user.
Looks like it's marijuana specifically. The Supreme Court on Monday appeared sympathetic to a marijuana user's challenge to a federal law that bars people who consume illegal drugs from having firearms. So that's another question. Is this marijuana specific? I don't know exactly what they're appealing on, or does this have to do with any and all illegal drugs? Based on oral arguments, it appears a majority of the court could rule in favor of a Texas-based Ali Daniel Hamani, an alleged regular user of marijuana who's had a handgun at his home in the Dallas area when it was searched by the FBI, or who did have one when it was searched by the FBI in 2022. The ruling could be limited in scope based on concerns that prosecutors could not show Hamani's use of marijuana made him a danger to society. Yeah, well, at least if this reporting is correct, then maybe you're going to get some chipping away at that standard. Now, let me read your question again about how this could possibly be interpreted. So do you think this is a win, air quotes, for 2A advocates, or is it actually more of a loss for owners down the line with the likelihood of users of both firearms and drugs and weakening the way advocacy? Sorry, the transcript is just a little jumbled. Sometimes it doesn't do a great job.
But how would that work? What's the implementation there? That you have to take a drug test when you're buying a firearm, or is this only
the way it works now is essentially that you just declare when you buy a firearm that I am not a user of illegal drugs. Of course, you can do the Hunter Biden and lie, but if you lie, that is a crime, and you could be prosecuted for that. The other way it works is like this guy. It sounds like, I don't know his case, but let's say that you are just pulled over, or your house is searched for whatever reason, and they find you in possession of both of these things, say marijuana and a handgun. You could get a criminal charge for that, even though you've not really committed a crime with the gun. You can talk about whether the possession of the weed is a crime or not.
Yeah, but what if it's in a state where possessing weed is legal and
it's still federally illegal?
And it's someone left. Yeah, right. It still isn't. Because I had heard that they were doing this a while ago in California, where they had passed like medical marijuana usage, but in order to qualify for the medical marijuana, you had to claim anxiety or some type of mental disorder, and then under the mental disorder, they could say, well, now you can't own a gun, and so they got around it that way, way to stop people from getting guns.
My question would be that if this is specific to marijuana or any type of drugs, let's say that somebody's high off their ass on heroin, you really gonna trust them with a gun?
Well, obviously there are circumstances where drugs are a aggravating factor.
How many people
gun ownership
and guns?
Possession.
How many people that own? Sorry, Matt.
No, that's all right.
How many people that own guns drink alcohol though, and get shit-faced?
And there are a lot. There are a lot, and let's put it this way. Even though I do have questions about the relationship between drugs and guns, let's say that you get a DUI, and let's say maybe you even damage someone else's property, or you maybe even something terrible happens. You hit a person. Now, that person's a scumbag. I'm not defending a drunk driver who damages other people's property or even their someone else's life. But I think it's a fair. What the law has to say about this is different from what I would say in moral terms. If you've repaid your debt to society, if you've served your prison term, and really your gun possession had nothing, you didn't commit a crime with a gun previously. You made a terrible mistake in your alcohol consumption, and you damaged someone else's property, or you damaged their life with your reckless alcohol consumption, but a gun had nothing to do with it. Let's say you go to prison for 10 years and you get out. It's hard for me to argue that a person who smoked weed in his bedroom and had a handgun in there is necessarily way more dangerous than a guy who, say, drove drunk, did some damage, like actually committed a crime. And if he committed a felony, he can't have a gun anyway. So it's a little bit of a moot point. But
isn't drunk driving a felony? And then
depends on
I don't know enough
severity
about
of it.
American laws. Can you own a gun if you're a felon?
No,
No, you
federally
can't.
you can't.
So I guess that'll be the distinction then.
I guess
drink all
I'm
you
talking.
want. Don't commit felonies while you're drunk.
Right. I'm talking myself into saying that any time that federal gun laws are weakened, I'm inclined to say good. Even though I have questions about people who abuse substances and the danger they present to society, I just don't think that the federal government handling this form of policing is wise or effective. So I'm going to take this as a win in the broad sense and hope that federal gun law is chipped away at.
You know what? Be even better if the community just got together and says, hey, this guy is always getting high and drunk. Maybe we should convince him not to get a gun or something like that.
Yeah, but
it seems more like a. This seems more like
that kind of like red flag. Or you're saying it should just be.
He's saying tell him not to use the drugs and get.
Well, when I say community, the community effectively knows who you are, right? And if they know that you're the type of person to act a fool, especially if you're under the influence, then you might try to.
If you live in a community.
Person.
You know, a lot of people live in big cities. There's no community. It's just millions of strangers.
Yeah, just millions of strangers that live in one place. So that is hard.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Splicing Wolf. I appreciate you reminding me that I need to pay attention to this because it's important, but also I appreciate you calling for the first time. I love to hear from first-time callers, so thanks for doing that. Appreciate your contribution to the show. Okay. You have more thoughts?
Well, I might be the only black person you know of that it's not all that into guns, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah,
which would be a first, because my kind is always
on the shelf behind me.
You're a stabber. We know that.
Yes. Did you find out what court it's in, Matt? Is it Supreme Court?
Oh yeah, it is. It's a Supreme Court case. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it is.
We'll see some sort of decision on that at the end of the term. So like end of June.
And what is actually on trial here?
Well, it sounds like this guy got busted with weed and a gun, and he is challenging the federal law that says no guns if you consume weed based on his Second Amendment rights. So we will get some sort of ruling on the federal law that says no drugs or no guns if you use drugs. And maybe that'll be marijuana specific, or maybe that'll be broader. We'll have to see. That's my guess. Yeah. After having read about it for 5
Schedule
seconds.
A, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs of this because I didn't listen to the argument and I haven't followed the case. So that would be my.
I'll be waiting for the Matt Christiansen video breakdown.
Maybe. I mean, I'm interested in gun stuff, and I know a lot of people are. Sometimes like the deep weeds of guns, I know not everybody's into that stuff. So sometimes I'm like, I think it's cool, but I know not everybody's super interested in that. So I kind of balk, but. It's going to be an important case, so I'll pay attention to that one. Okay, let's hop into some emails. Palatine, I think it's Palatine. I lived. My college was Palatine Hill Road, and we pronounce that Palatine. So I think it's Palatine, not Palatine. But this is from last week. I just wanted to acknowledge some success in the family of Palatine. He said 2 congratulations are in order. First, Matt, congrats to you. Right after I finish this, I will join MC Club. Thank you for that. Nice. Second, though, congrats to my brother Ryan. He got a professorship at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, in the biology department. He starts in August. He also interviewed at Montana State, my neck of the woods. So, Joshy boy, if you run into him, be nice because he's a good person, even if he did vote for Hillary. Oh. Well, thank you. All the best to your family. All the best to your brother.
We love you. You're very special.
Even if you voted Hillary.
Yes, even if you voted Hillary. I might not run into him in August. I plan to be gone from my state in June. So I may not run into him. So he's safe from my ridicule and chastisement for voting for Hillary.
All right. Well, I hope he makes a nice home and a nice living in Nuga. And congratulations.
And don't worry, don't be offended by the word nougat. We got nougats all over the place, all right?
Speaking of nougat, ooga booga. And I really like this question. I'm curious what you guys will have to say about it because I know I have a strong opinion. But hypothetical here about a marriage and financial arrangement. Suppose a man makes $85,000 a year in his job that he got with his bachelor's degree, while his wife makes $250,000 a year as a doctor. They have a child together, and the man quits his job to become a stay-at-home dad since he makes significantly less money, while the wife keeps working. Is this a better idea than the alternative, since it will help earn the family more income and provide a higher standard of living for the kid? Or is it just a recipe for the wife to gradually lose attraction and respect for the man? Should men deliberately avoid long-term relationships with women who make significantly more than they do in order to avoid this type of situation? So I'll be very quick. This is a great question. But in almost all scenarios, I do not recommend marriage arrangements with female breadwinners. It is going to make both husband and wife unhappy often. Men naturally want to provide. Women naturally want to be provided for and to care for the home and to make the home. Not always, and I'm not saying if you have an arrangement otherwise you're a bad person or you're an idiot or something like that. I understand in our modern times this exact sort of arrangement is quite common. So if it was me personally, though, and I had to make this choice, I believe that it would be the wiser choice for me to provide for my family, even if less money is involved, because the upside of that family arrangement that's going to keep that family happy and intact is greater than the money that we would receive in the other scenario, where I think it's a recipe for conflict between husband and wife, which is a disservice to that child. It's all a question of what if. It's all hypothetical. Again, it's not a guarantee that your marriage is going to fall apart if you do this. I just I would take less money traditional family arrangement if it was me making the decision. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I actually do agree with that. And the thing is that we're not only called, a man is called to provide, to protect, and to preach. That's our role, right? That's what we're supposed to do. If the female or if the wife is the breadwinner, then she technically holds the authority over the household, and that can create friction, right? We men are called to be in charge, especially over our own households. But if she's wearing the pants in that situation and she doesn't like how the husband is doing it or whatever, she could lord it over him, which could create friction. Also, the mom needs to stay at home. She's more nurturing than the father would be, right? Babies need more nurture at that stage than fathers. Because
dude, I try to nurture. I give it my damnedest, and I can't nurture, man. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, we're not built.
They can tell. I'm not correct. I'm not right.
Dude, you do, but we nurture with structure,
with discipline.
Correct. The nature of the nurture is different. I'm saying if I try to be my wife, if I try to be mom, they can tell.
Can't do that.
That's not that's not who I am.
Yeah. So when you get a little boo boo on your elbow, you go to mama. You don't go to daddy.
Yeah,
right?
that's because I laugh at them when they get a boo on their elbow. And then they get mad.
Yeah, we guys tell you, suck it up, buttercup. You ain't dead. But go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, I totally agree. Even though you come up with a million reasons why it might sound like it could work, or there are more masculine men and more feminine men and more masculine women, and maybe there's an interesting combination there. But generally, regardless, whatever your motivation is for doing it, if you think, oh well, she'll stay with me if we have more money because she's the one working, no, because she will resent you, and the kids will get fucked up, and you will resent. Like it will never work.
And there's also, go ahead.
No, I'm good.
No, there's also that subtlety and everything. A woman wants the man to lead, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and if you said, listen, I know you could make more money, but I'm going to be the breadwinner, and if she's not willing to make that sacrifice for you now, she wasn't going to make it when she was the one making money and you were raising the kid anyway. So it was done already.
And there's a reason why, say, being an absentee father who technically pays his child support. Let's say I myself am a high-powered lawyer or doctor, and I make $1 million, but I'm divorced from my wife. And technically, I pay them, whatever, the child support or whatever I owe. So the financial, maybe I even make them fabulously rich. Maybe I pay them $500,000 a year. You would still say that scenario is lacking in fatherhood because I'm not present in the optimal arrangement, even though the finances are great. So for the same reason, I would say that here. Yeah, the finances are great. However, like having wealth is not sufficient to care for a child. It's much more than that. And I think you have to prioritize the integrity of that household, the structure of that household over the dollar that maintains the roof. Of course, both are necessary. If you can't afford the roof at all, you have a problem there too. But I get a kick out of this stuff. As I mentioned all the time, my wife and I love to watch trash dating shows, and that's how we spend some time together. We'll probably watch some of it tonight, actually. But in the latest season of Love is Blind that I talked to Sean, Actual Justice Warrior, about this last year when they had the Minneapolis season on it. But in this season, spoiler alert if you're a Love is Blind person, there's a guy who is going to be married to a doctor, and it doesn't work out because he's not attracted to her. And this guy's kind of a douchebag for a bunch of reasons, but everybody online is dumping on him. Oh man, you dropped a doctor? What are you, an idiot? Who leaves a doctor? It's like, you realize men are not actually attracted to like high power professionals, right? That's not. If you showed me two women and you say like they have all equal traits and one's a doctor, for the reasons we've described, that might actually be a negative to me because I know that's going to compete with my role as the man of the household. Yeah. So doctor is not an automatic yes for a lot of men for a good reason.
Yeah. No, it's almost also a turn off.
Yeah, it's a red flag too. See, most guys, if you, like you said before, if you had two girls who were equal in just about every quality, they're hot, they're nice and whatnot. One is a barista that still lives with her mom, while the other is a successful doctor. Most guys are going to choose the barista.
Well, and here's
it's way more attractive. Men want that kind of dependency. And just to throw back to your previous thing, Matt, about even if you're paying the bills, you need to be there in person. So because the role of the father is to be there to ignore your kids in person.
To some extent,
it doesn't count.
Go talk to your mother.
That's easy mode if you're not there.
And the thing, you talk about the barista. Now, hopefully the barista does not have $100,000 in gender studies debt. Hopefully she's free and clear.
That's a different problem. Yeah.
But I'm just speaking in general. Like, let's just say she dropped out of college and she's just a barista. No degree or anything.
What I mean too with the doctor, it's not just that you're going to have this sort of breadwinning competition in the home. She might be required to do that because of the debt her schooling has built.
Yeah. If she's a doctor, probably. She's probably
or a lawyer or something. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have her do that work because it's the only way you're going to pay off that pile of debt. So you're really locked into a particular lifestyle too often, which sucks because even if you think like, well, we'll give this a shot, and if it doesn't work, we'll course correct. You might not be able to course correct because the debt requires you to live that way, which is another concern.
Now, Ooga Booga, this sounds extremely specific. If you need help, just contact us. Okay.
I think it's a great question, and I think it's something that a lot of men are kind of instinctively clear on, but maybe if they don't think it through, they would choose otherwise. They would think, I do want my wife to be fabulously rich, when in fact you don't. That's not what you want.
You really don't. And they, like you said before, there are quite a few men who become dependent upon that. They stick with that. So, my wife makes this money, so we'll be fine. That's dependency. You're not supposed to be that way.
Yeah, she'll hate you for it, and you'll hate yourself for it.
Yeah.
No, if you're doing it to save the marriage, don't bother. It's over.
It's over then.
Thank you, Ooga Booga. That was a great question. Adam, what is the best public source for unbiased information? It's nearly impossible to find a full unedited video of the Pretty and Good events. The video either has the most important moments censored, the video is edited into 10-second clips, paused for biased commentary, or filled with 9.5 minutes of context about how the victim is just a sweet baby angel who loved basketball, rap music, and engaging in their community. Don't forget stabbing.
Yes.
And grinning
jogging
while doing
jogging while stabbing while jogging.
Previously, mainstream channels like ABC, NBC, CNN, now far left garbage. They've been caught with false photos and video, like the Pretty manipulation and Green Rogan. There's an obvious left-wing bias. YouTube suppresses videos from alternative media, don't they, though? Perhaps I can find a clean, unedited version from Mama Donna on Facebook or KT Live on X, but it's hard to say that is truly unbiased reporting and not AI or parody. Fox News, MSNBC, all right. Different presentations. Ultimately, I just want a mainstream online resource where friends and I can check the news, gather facts, and come to our own conclusion without spending 30 minutes sifting through online trash and piecing together a puzzle of what really happened. Well, first of all, I would implore you to go to mattchristiansenmedia.com or mattis.gay. It's the unbiased absolute truth.
There you go.
You watched this show. This is the only show I watched that.
No, but I
catches
think
up
what
with
he's
you.
saying is he doesn't want commentary. He wants just
Yeah.
the original footage.
Yeah,
which
even if the
trust me,
commentary
it's
is-
impossible. You cannot.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. YouTube, you look up
Yeah.
anything, you're just going to get everybody talking about that thing. And
Yeah.
Ground
I wish
news
I
might
knew
be-
Reuters.
Yeah.
Um,
Ground
I
news
I
might
would
be
say
good.
so. First of all, if the information is a description and it's not the primary source information, you're always filtering through somebody. Pretty much,
Mhm.
you're almost every story you encounter, you're going to be filtering through someone else's judgment. So there are two things that you can do. Number one, you can find outlets that you think are closest to the truth, or more true than not, more often than not, more worthy of your trust. You frequent those. And then number two, what I do, and I know this is kind of what you don't want to do, but anytime you can find those primary sources, by that I mean like a video of what happened, a photo of what happened, that's the only way that you're going to get this information without the filter of someone else's description. In my opinion, X is the best resource for that. And in terms of news outlets that are writing up or doing TV or video coverage of it, what I appreciate and the things I trust are places that actually link or cite the sources. They don't just describe it. They link you to the video of it happening so you can look at it yourself. Whether I agree with the framing, a lot of alternative media outlets do it. I think oddly enough, I think a lot of the websites I frequent, like Gateway Pundit would be called like a freak far right website, but I think they're actually really great at linking primary sources. A lot of other so-called alternative media sites that I frequent, I'm thinking like the whole Town Hall family of websites. You got like Red State, Hot Air, Town Hall, Breitbart, a lot of these kind of alternative right-wing sources that I look at. You can disagree with the framing or maybe some opinion sprinkled in there, but often where I can find the link to the material is they just have it linked right there in the coverage. I don't have to worry about someone's framing if I can just see what happened right there. And when I look at things like CNN, NBC, New York Times, less often in my experience, they actually have that primary material linked. So that's one thing that I look for. And but I know it's not easy just to find, like you say, video's sometimes censored or it's manipulated in one way or another. Still, the easiest way to find it is just to go to X and start doing a few searches if you want to find. Generally, when it's a breaking news story or something that's happening right now, it's going to have some viral traffic on it, and you'll probably be able to find it fairly easy. It won't be.
Yeah, just do a clear search in X, go to top, or videos or pictures, and that's the best that I know of. Or do what I do, which is watch Asmongold commenting on Hassan Piker, commenting on Ben Shapiro, commenting on it.
Yeah.
I guess I've never fallen into that loop of commentatorception, but it must be out there.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It is, man.
It's the only thing that beats like 12-year-old high school girl gossip.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Adam, and Godspeed. I know it can be frustrating trying to sift through the mountain of crap on the internet to find some semblance of the truth, but I appreciate that you're here trying to do that. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you for that. Here we go. Ty Kneecock.
Got him! Got him!
Good one, Ty. How would you distinguish suicidal empathy from regular empathy? Should conservatives be more ready to distinguish those concepts? I see some leftists saying that Charlie Kirk bashed the idea of empathy without clarifying what kind of empathy, and using that to say, I don't really feel sorry for him and his family. I've seen those memes too. Charlie Kirk hated empathy, so I'm just plagued by his rules, and I'm glad he's dead, or whatever they say, I wonder.
Take a stab at is it? Are you done reading it? Sorry.
I'll finish the question here, and then you can go first if you like. And I wonder if better messaging on empathy versus suicidal empathy would be important.
Yeah. I mean, empathy, the difference is regular empathy doesn't destroy your civilization.
Yeah.
Yes. The difference is one's suicidal, the other's not.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wait, what are the first, second, third order consequences? And is it the death of me and everyone I know?
All right.
The difference between the red car and the blue car is the color. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And at some level it is like sort of obvious and clear cut in that way. What you're getting at, if I were to describe it in a different way, is that healthy empathy or appropriate empathy is according to a moral code. I feel bad for these people in this situation according to moral principle X, or these people are worthy of empathy because they are apologetic according to moral principle Y. It's empathy that is morally void or morally relativistic that is actually suicidal. To say, like, we should just have an understanding and appreciation of these people for no reason at all other than they're people doing a thing. If people are entitled to empathy no matter what, it betrays moral principle. It's blind to moral principle. So inevitably, it does you damage, the kind of second, third order effects like you're talking about, Mark. If moral assessment plays no role in your delivery of empathy, you are going to entertain or reward or explain away the wrong things, and those wrong things are going to be damaging. And this is exactly why when somebody offers a sincere apology when they've done something wrong to you, almost always that can be accepted. Now, maybe it's a serious crime and there has to be justice for that crime. But even in that context, like you kill a person. Again, you're a drunk driver and you kill a person. If you go to trial and you are sincerely apologetic for what you've done, there's a reason that's a mitigating factor. And there's a reason you get some empathy, is because you've shown an acknowledgement of, an appreciation of moral truth, a moral principle. So that is the distinction in how you give earned empathy versus morally blind empathy, suicidal empathy.
My thing is the whole empathy thing, because I looked it up because I often get this confused with sympathy, right? From what you guys are describing, wouldn't that be more sympathetic rather than empathetic?
Yeah, even that distinction, I always, like, to me, they're synonyms. I know that's technically incorrect.
Yeah, but the thing is with the whole suicidal empathy thing, that most people actually don't understand what somebody else is going through, and it's more pity than it is like, oh, I understand and I feel that you share that feeling. But
that's
for example,
I always thought that empathy had a more verbal connotation.
Yeah, it has more connection, like, because you may have
doing something.
Yeah, to be empathetic towards somebody, meaning that you, to some extent, you understand because it may have affected you in some way, or you've been through it yourself. Sympathy, we may like me being sympathetic towards somebody, or feeling bad for them or feeling pity for them. It's just, oh, he killed a guy, he's very sorry. I'm very sympathetic towards that, even though I've never had anybody in my family who's been killed by a drunk driver. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's also I think that empathy implies there being some type of action involved other than just a feeling. I don't know why I think that way, but yeah, it's very nuanced. But I think a good analogy for suicidal empathy, like Matt was saying, with it having a moral context, is that the difference between empathy and suicidal empathy is it's a lot like forgiving someone without them repenting.
Yeah.
Like, if there's the repentance, then they make that moral qualification for the forgiveness. And that's where empathy could be good, where they've shown in some way that those detrimental actions are going to stop. You're not just going to get killed. Yeah.
There you go. That's the difference, whether or not you get killed in the end, and you look for the warning signs. Thank you, Mr. Kneecock. Appreciate your contribution to the show. Now, I just have I've tried to limit these a little bit lately to 3 or 4, but we're pretty good on time, and I'll just do a quick lightning round on 3 more here, and then we'll get into Super Chat. We'll call it a night. You guys cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk to first up, actually I have my order reversed here. We'll do Vig Vagina first.
That's disgusting.
How would you apply Blackstone's ratio? Is it better that 10 guilty persons, or it is better that 10 guilty persons escape than 1 innocent person suffer, to immigration enforcement? How many U.S. citizens could be detained per illegal immigrant that is detained? Should ICE or DHS have to compensate for illegal or unlawful detention of U.S. citizens? So I'm not even sure that I agree with the general principle. We hear this in the death penalty context all the time. Like, well, it's better to let an infinite amount of people off the hook, guilty people off the hook, than it is to kill 1 innocent man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that that's true.
That's the if it saves 1 life bullshit. Like, sorry, it just doesn't make sense. It's a shitty argument.
So I'm going to pass that off because it's beside the point of this question. I'll accept the premise for the purposes of this question, but I don't really think there's a numerical answer to this, which I guess isn't really. I'm still operating in the framework of I don't accept the premise, actually, because it's not, justice is not really a numerical concept. Each individual injustice is just as worthy of justice as the last or every other individual one. And by the way, when a guilty person is let off the hook, that is also an injustice. The killing of an innocent person is an injustice. The arrest of an innocent person on wrongful terms is an injustice. Also, people invading our country in a way that is not legally authorized is an injustice that needs to be brought to justice. So it's, to me, it's not a 5-to-1, 10-to-1 deal. It's, yes, illegal invasion of the country is wrong and has to be brought to justice. And also, yes, we don't want wrongful arrests, and where they happen, we have to stop them. And if they're really egregious, there's got to be some sort of corrective mechanism, whether that's some sort of compensation to the person or something like that. But I'm going to operate within the mathematical framework for a second. What math is acceptable? Well, I will say the current math is more than acceptable. When we look at the way this is broken down in 2025, ICE and the rest of immigration authorities have arrested some 600,000 people in 2025. They arrested 170 U.S. citizens, and most of them were arrested for interfering with the operations. They weren't mistakes. These were people hassling and heckling ICE operations on the street. Even if those were all mistakes, 170 mistakenly detained U.S. citizens, it breaks down to a mistake rate of about 3 in 10,000, 0.03%. I think that's very good. So if there is acceptable math, given the scale of the problem, I think that the current math is more than acceptable. And yeah, if you're one of those 3 in 10,000 that got your ass kicked for no reason, maybe you deserve some compensation to correct for that. But I don't think that we are anywhere close to saying, well, if like 3 out of 10,000 are wrongly arrested, I think it's much better to let every illegal live in this country without any intervention. I'd
be good with like 1 innocent immigrant getting evicted for every 3 not innocent immigrants getting evicted.
So you could have like 10,000. You could have like 1,000 more wrongful arrests, and you'd still say good deal.
It's a number I could live with.
Yeah. Plus,
1,000 times more. That is not just raw terms.
And the thing is, even if you are mistakenly arrested or whatever, don't they at least try to identify you? Couldn't you just
of course
clear that up?
That's why the failure rate is so low, because like really it's like the most basic process of all time. Like
that's what
show
I've never
us some ID.
They say they always say that first they came. It's that like I don't know if it's Holocaust in origin, but first they came for this, and I said nothing because I was not
bullshit
this
in origin.
Yeah, maybe. But they apply in immigration they came for the illegals, and I said nothing because I'm not illegal. Well, kind of like if ICE approached me and say, "Hey, are you an illegal immigrant from Denmark?" I'd say, "No, I'm not. Here's my Montana driver's license." And they'd say, "Sorry for the mistake. We must be looking for some other rogue Christiansen, and we will go get him." I've never. What are you saying? You carry around ID all the time? I do, because I drive a car around all the time. So
well, not only that, go ahead.
Oh, but the thing is, I was watching I like to watch cop body cam videos all the time because I think they're hilarious. But they was looking for a wanted guy, a wanted Hispanic guy, and they thought they found them. It turned out to be the wrong guy, who was a homeless man. But all they are asking him to do is okay, if you just show us an ID, right, and show us that you're not the person we're looking for, we can just be on our way and leave you alone. Yeah. But he chose to try to go for the officer's gun.
Exactly. Well,
that's probably the 3 out of 10,000 is lunatics like that. Yeah.
No, but even in the stupid poem, they're like, first they came for the doctors, and I said nothing because I wasn't. It's like first they came for the redheads. It's like no one's even arbitrarily rounding up people because of like literally enforcing laws. Laws.
We need more arbitrariness. Actually, we need to get more arbitrary.
Let's go for doctors, then lawyers.
Hey, you at the taco stand. Yeah, you. Your odds are high. Get in the truck.
Nail salons.
Yeah.
We can make a list.
Okay. Thank you to Vig. Vig. I almost said it. Vig Vagina. Minnesota root beer enjoyer, do you think we'll see more trans school shooters or more assassination attempts? Is this either or is it both and?
Oh,
do you think? Do you think we will see more trans school shooters or more assassination attempts as we get closer to the midterms?
Yes! This sounds like an either or.
Yeah. Let's do both.
Okay, so it's my initial answer. I just thought it was, are you going to see more left-wing violence?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I thought it was an easy question, but I think you're right. It is either or. So, why not both? Like, I'm going to call it a push because you're going to have
will be more left-wing violence, and then which one do you think will be more out of the?
But he's saying, okay, here's the thing though. He's saying school shooters, not just trans shooters, but school shooters. Yeah. So specifically, friends of Tim Walz.
But haven't all the trans shooters been school shooters?
Not all of them.
It's common.
Which one wasn't?
What the hockey one? Well, that wasn't a mass shooting. That was a murder.
Yeah.
Depends on your definition.
The hockey one. Oh, the trans dad, right?
Yeah.
It's trans dad.
Which, by the way, a third just died. He killed his father-in-law, who was going to send the Asian gangs after him. That guy died this week. Yeah.
Oof.
In related causes?
No, he was shot, and he just happened. He survived for a week or two, and he died later. Yeah. So I'm going to say, because the assassination attempt is a broader net, I'm going to go with that. But if it was trans shooters, period, not school shooters, I would pick trans shooters.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with trans school shooters.
Wow. That's a bold pick. Come back to this at the end of the year.
Because after the twice attempted assassination of Trump, right? And then the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a lot of people are going to have tighter security. So I think the former is going to be more prevalent than the latter.
Well, what's the count so far this year? What are we at?
Assassination attempts,
trans shootings, and
I don't think there.
I think it's 3 for 3. No.
What political assassination attempts have there been? Has there been anything since?
Yeah, no. Trump was
Charlie
like 2
Kirk,
years ago, right?
I don't think there's been anything since Charlie Kirk.
Attempts. The problem is we only know about the big ones.
Yeah, the high profile ones.
Yeah.
The last trans school shooter was the Minneapolis Annunciation one in August, right? That was the church school.
So we're 1-1 this year.
Now, and the one in Tumbler Ridge doesn't count because that's Canada, or does it count? I'm not trying to be snarky. I'm saying, like, are we doing U.S. only here or not?
Who said
that is a fair question?
That, Matt. Come on.
That is a fair question. Though. We are talking.
This guy's an American.
You are, well, because he said the midterms, and we don't have midterms. So
yeah. So I'm thinking strictly U.S.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So yeah.
Sorry, your tranny shooters don't count.
Attempts are up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let them know.
Thank you, Minnesota root beer enjoyer. Appreciate your contribution, and be humble. Be humble. We've had this back and forth about the loser mentality, the defeatist mentality on the right, and the moral framework of navigating all that, and trying to ensure that your political enemies never rise to power again, while also making sure that you're not becoming an evil person yourself. And I know you left a voicemail, be humble, but it was also, as you say here, it was also 3 minutes long, so it's too long to play. But I did want to acknowledge your participation in the show, and I'll read your email here since it's a little more brief. But he said, left a voicemail. I got cut off probably because I like to ramble. Anyway, my final point is that as Christians, we understand that evil and wickedness will continue to gain power on earth until the day the Lord returns. Yet it is our duty to fight against it and not sit idly by as innocent lives are conquered by Satan. Love the show. Love your commentary as always. Appreciate your contribution to the show as well. Be humble. Yeah. And yeah, I think we can all agree with yes, you have a moral obligation to fight evil, to try to stop evil, but there's also a moral obligation to identify it correctly and precisely. That is to say, if I saw a nugget of evil concentrate in the middle of 100 people who did absolutely nothing wrong, and I just loaded up a gun and mowed them all down, but I happened to take out that nugget concentrate that was in the middle of all of them, we would still call that a moral problem, because eliminating evil or defeating evil at all costs, of course, has its own moral components. So we have to correctly identify the evil with precision. And number two, we also have a moral obligation to make sure that collateral damage is not done in the confrontation or elimination of that evil. And that is the challenge of fighting the evil without becoming the evil. So yeah, I don't think we disagree strongly, other than I don't want the quest against evil to be defeating evil at all costs, because that itself is evil.
Yeah. You're defeating evil with more evil.
Yeah, well, then you become
case.
you become utopianism. It becomes utopianist, right? Which is
Yeah.
that's always the ultimate problem with Christianity, is that you're supposed to fight against evil, but you're not supposed to try and bring heaven to earth. Like, this is a fallen place, and you finding that balance. Then we get into the Lord of the Rings moral argument of like, is the ring power, or are you supposed to use power? And no, there's a balance.
That is the thing that a lot of there's a lot of back and forth of, oh, we're not supposed to seize power because Jesus himself didn't seize power when he was here on earth. He said, dude is the Prince of Peace, right? He has ultimate power.
Both. Yeah.
It's just that his authority comes from God the Father. He doesn't come from the earth. The authorities that we have are ordained by him. So when we Christians want to take power, it's generally because we want to do good, right?
Right.
Well, those of us who are actual Christians, not the charlatans, like what's the name? Talarico?
No Protestants. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Look, the Protestant. I'm gonna go be nice to all my Protestant friends and kinsmen and whatnot, but I will.
Now we're kinsmen. All right.
Well, I've always considered y'all kinsmen because that's what you are to me, right?
Okay.
But unless you're Catholic. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But there's nothing wrong with us Christians, be you Orthodoxy, Catholic, Protestant, right? Taking power for the sake of installing our values, installing our the moral systems that we learned through the Bible, and all that other stuff to kind of spread that throughout society. I don't see anything wrong with that. We can't stop evil, but we can definitely hinder it a lot.
Yeah.
But the problem is that a lot of Christians, specifically in the Protestant circles, are massive pussies. And
bingo.
Sorry, it's just that we should stick to our principles. Well, guess what? Your principles are the reason why your face is in the concrete, why you're wearing a boot as a hat.
Well, and without getting into a huge theological discussion, I still think a lot of, like Jesus said, he came to fulfill the law, not abolish it. And look at the story of King David, who was instituted by God and killed a lot of people.
Yeah, and
I'm just so glad that Mary consented, dude. It all could have gone haywire if she's like, I don't know. Can we really afford this, Joseph? There's a clinic right down the street.
Where would we be?
The other thing is that people also want to point out, and this is a misinterpretation. He says that, well, God didn't want the Israelites to have a king like all the other nations. He said, yeah, like the other nations, because those kings were bastards. He didn't say they couldn't have a king, period. He just said, don't have a king like the other nations around you because of the things that they do that are wicked and evil. So people misunderstand that all the time. For all those who practice sola scriptura.
Well,
all of those. Yeah.
Thank you to our email questioners. As a reminder, if you'd like to send an email, leave a voicemail. You can also send a text message to the show, but all the information on that is on the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. Appreciate everybody's contribution to the show. We're going to close out with Super Chat here, and then we'll call it a night. Let's see what we got. I'll start over on Rumble with Ginger Ninja, who has a few in sequence here. There are very high... No. Am I reading this correctly? There are very high odds that Talarico will win the general election. If Cornyn wins the runoff, Talarico is guaranteed to beat him.
I doubt it.
All right, I'm not buying that, but if you're calling your shot, I will absolutely acknowledge you for your wisdom this time next year. If Paxton wins the runoff, it will be a close one. Depends on your definition of close. I mean, Beto got kind of close with Ted Cruz, and I know that Cornyn has a lot of opposition. And when Trump says, I'm going to pick which one of you to endorse and then the other should drop out, I can't imagine he's going to pick Cornyn. But the fact that he's leaving it open is sort of odd. I don't... Listen, I will... If Talarico wins, I will say praise Ginger Ninja. He saw it way before all of us. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that that Beto, for all his faults, I think even Beto probably has more political talent than this guy does. This guy is way fruitier and way more cringe. All right, the cat is here. Sorry.
Well, he kept running up against my leg, and I got tired of it.
It was my cat meowing. Okay,
but the thing is, I mean, I didn't think a Muslim communist would ever get elected, but here we are, right?
But that's also New York City. I mean, this is Texas, man. I think
Texas
there's gonna be
is slowly turning blue.
Maybe.
Slowly.
I guess everywhere kind of is, except for, I don't know, Florida trended red recently, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true. A lot of places voted more red in 2024. The question is, are they going to hold that way for this time?
Yeah.
Talarico, I cannot. Okay, if Talarico wins in Texas, that's a black pill for me. I'm chugging them. I'm doomer if Talarico wins. It's over if Talarico wins.
Forgive my ignorance here again. I haven't been paying close enough attention to remember the names because I don't really care that much. Unless, is this election a bellwether for which way the midterms are going to go?
Well, Texas is such a reliably red state that for Democrats to flip a Texas seat in the Senate
didn't
at
Beto
all
almost take it from.
Yeah, he was within like what a few percentage points. You know, it depends on what your definition of close.
Was that
is.
for a race like this?
Yeah,
Senate?
exactly. Senate seat,
Cruz?
statewide, same thing, just against different incumbent Ted Cruz.
Right.
Yeah.
So Texas can almost go either way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be. It's not inconceivable, Princess Bride, but it's. It's as close to that as could be. That is to say, if it flips to this guy, there aren't really red states anymore, I would say. That it would be preposterous. But
yeah.
All I gotta say is that whatever gets us closer to monarchy. Mm-hmm.
Well, this might. So
are you on the collapse side or on the what's your?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I am your cat got glowing eyes. It looks scary as shit.
Cats are staring each other down.
I knew I heard him.
But
he's looking right at the ring light.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily pro-collapsitarian because that sounds awful, and I don't want people to get hurt or die.
So how do we get to monarchy without?
But that's the other thing.
Reverse revolution. It's not 1776.
Yeah,
it's
what's the opposite of a revolution?
6771. That's when it's coming.
Well, yeah, I see your point. While I don't want that to happen, that's the only way I can see it happening.
Yeah. Or I mean, you do. I don't know how you're familiar you are with Yarvin, but he has a it was the guy who inspired me towards my affinity for monarchism. But basically, his idea is just like pay them off, do what Europe did with the Stasi.
Mm-hmm.
They're still paying pensions. These guys just said, listen, we'll pay you well, just go away. Everybody go into retirement and let us run this properly.
Ginger Ninja has more clarity here on his prediction. Another interesting election yesterday. Aaron Spencer, the father who protected his daughter from the 67-year-old former police chief pedo, he beat the incumbent sheriff by 27 points. I did not hear that, so thank you for that information. And congrats to him, though the situation sounds terrible, but I'm glad that he sounds like he's got some justice for his family. Nice. If I'm understanding that situation correctly. Also says, though, just FYI, the reason for a guaranteed Cornyn loss in a general election against Talarico is if Cornyn's on the ballot, 30% of Republican voters will be refusing to vote for Cornyn. It'll be that bad. Now, to your point, Ginger Ninja, it is a midterm off-year election. If Trump's not on the ballot, which is going to affect voter enthusiasm, Democrats in off-year elections when Trump is in power will be more motivated than Republicans as a general rule, regardless of the candidate. That's just true. Does Talarico really inspire them any more than Baseline, or are these people just so rabid that it's vote blue no matter who, even that fruitcake who thinks Jesus loved him? Jesus wanted to be aborted himself. Jesus would have loved it if his mom had done that to him.
It's totally the latter. These guys believe in hippie Jesus, for crying out loud.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't believe that Democrats are going to get like Talarico is going to have a push sufficient to flip that state blue.
I don't know, man. These people are nuts. It asked me about 4 years ago, maybe not, but now.
Also said there was one guy with a tree stand set up near the airport Trump uses at Mar-a-Lago. I forgot about that one. There was that guy too. That was after Charlie's assassination, I think. That guy never got a shot off, right? He was just there.
I think he did get a shot off, I think.
Yeah,
but he
the
was
guy in the
caught.
trees, in the bushes.
Yeah. Well, there was the Bush guy, and then there was wasn't there a separate tree stand guy?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Because the Bush guy was over the summer of 2024, and he's now sentenced. So that was not after Charlie Kirk, though I don't think that's who he's talking about.
That was before.
Yeah.
So I don't know about this other one.
I don't know about a tree stand guy.
I know about the roof guy, but that's it.
Honest Joe Biden. Happy he's tuning in again tonight. I'm so happy that Jasmine Crockett lost her election. Because when I win in 2028, I will nominate her for the Supreme Court. Well, I'll look forward to that, I guess.
Bingo.
Oh, great.
She'll fit right in with Jumanji Brown Jackson. That'll be the insane wing of the court for sure. Long Dong John, great show on Sunday, Matt, but I think one thing was missing, and I will remember you for the Ayatollah. I never do the montage for people when they die for obvious reasons. It's just when they disappear or when they leave a particular role. For the Ayatollah, though, I mean, what would I even... there's got to be videos of him doing stuff, I guess. Ayatollah had a kind of a strong Twitter game, X game, though. He used to troll.
His best tweets.
Yeah. So no more of that. Tim says, a bit of housekeeping for non-American viewers in Arizona, I think. Starting this Sunday, the U.S. will be back on daylight savings. This means for said non-American viewers, the show will start an hour earlier from Sunday until early November.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose an hour of sleep and be mad as hell.
Yeah, it does suck, but you get over it.
No, I've never
get
over
an extra
it until the
hour
fall.
of daylight. Come on.
Yeah.
I want an hour of sleep. Damn it.
All right. Tim also says, this is the scripture that Talarico was citing. Luke 1:31. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. So that's commanding language. That's hey, Mary, if you're okay with it, I was thinking.
The same line I used. Yeah.
Be like, men out there, that's how you do it. Hey, like you're saying, that you want to talk pickup line.
Have
like
the
you're
name,
saying, Mark.
have everything.
Yeah.
No,
you will conceive and give birth to a son. I'll pick you up at 8.
Yeah. I said, listen up, bitch. You finna drop me a son. You feel me, player?
I didn't know that you are to call, even the name was commanded according to this this translation. So nothing about it was, there was no consent, man. It was even name rape.
There's no ask.
Yeah. It was
that's what I'm
everything
saying.
was assigned.
God is a player.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Remember
Mary did raise
this
questions. How would that work given she's a virgin, but there was no choice given? Typical dickhead not knowing or lying about scripture. I mean, like I said, even if you operate within his premises, she said, if it is God's will, then it shall be done, which means there wasn't actually a choice. It means that there was a right and a wrong bestowed upon her. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's acting like this is very exclusive to just the ever Virgin Mary, right? Like I said before, Gideon was commanded, Jonah was commanded, Abraham was commanded, David was commanded. He said, "Go do this."
I really don't like this pussified God who
That's
asks if you're okay with stuff before he does it. It undermines his entire authority. It's a bunch of bullshit.
They shape Yahweh in the way, I wouldn't even say Yahweh. They shape their God how they want, because it's basically the worship of the self.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
But I'm trying to think, are there New Testament examples? There's Saul on the road to Damascus, but that wasn't really that was a vision, right? Like,
yeah, but it was still a command.
In a set, was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Like even the
derail the whole show.
No, like even Saint Paul. No, even St. Paul, he was kind of commanded, Jesus, like, you will build my church, right? He says, hey, are you cool with building my church?
Right.
He said, yeah, because he said,
was that
do you love
Peter?
me? And he said, yeah, Peter, St. Peter. Yeah. But he was like, do you love me? And he says, yes, then you will do this, right? That's a command.
It's true.
He wasn't asked. He said, then you will do this.
He wasn't what?
Huh?
Injured guardian. A man's biblical responsibility to his wife is to love her, honor her, protect her,
hold
provide
on,
for her,
time out.
and brag on her. Paul and Solomon wrote on these. I assume there probably is much more of a biblical basis to it that I'm even talking about, because I'm not the greatest in my scriptural reference in that way. But makes perfect sense. Sorry. What did you?
First of all, I said
what did you
want
to axe about?
I said it correctly. Yes, I did.
Rewind the tape. Rewind the show.
No, I'm not gonna have you gaslight me.
As they said in the Discord. No, that was a hard X. As they said in the Discord.
That guy is wrong. Okay.
Mark, you be the neutral arbiter.
I'm going with Matt on this one.
Yeah, that was a hard X.
Bullshit.
I heard.
Look, listen. That's unsusceptible. Okay, that's unsusceptible. Shit.
You have to call an ambulance.
That's unacceptable.
Okay. Tim says
that was good.
Unacceptable.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's ignorant. Okay.
Tim says, to add to Ooga Booga's question, there are heaps of stories about high-powered career women who are frustrated at how few men are out there because they look for someone who earns more than them. Even career women want to be cared for. That's the story of this woman on the dating show that we're talking about. She's 38 and she's a doctor. And where are all the good men? Okay, number one, and the way they phrase it is men are intimidated. Intimidated is the wrong word. It's not like I'm afraid of you as a high earner. I just recognize that it upsets the natural order, the natural structure of a family. Intimidation, it's a girl power word, a girl boss word to puff their chests about. That's not what it is. It's inverting the natural relationship between husband and wife.
It's like saying, like women should be attracted to feminine men. Like, I don't think women are ever like, oh, look at that guy's fashion sense. Like, it's just not.
What are you, intimidated?
Yeah. And plus, like I said before, most guys, first of all, if a girl says, I make this, if a girl ever comes up to me, so I can finally beat the allegations, they say like, hey, I make this, I make $100,000 a year. And that's like, well, that's great. You can enjoy it by yourself because I ain't going for it.
Yeah.
Tim says, I think the best way to describe suicidal empathy is when your empathy causes some level of harm to yourself. Suicidal implies death, which can happen. But for example, when your empathy for illegals allows them to harm citizens, that's suicidal empathy. Yeah, it's moral blindness. It's carte blanche for you will forgive them for anything that they do, regardless of their own desire for forgiveness. Like they don't even have to apologize or seek forgiveness. You just hand it out automatically in the way you're describing. Injured Guardian, skip Osmond Gold and watch Metatron's videos. I don't know those. Do you know those? Either?
I heard of Metatron.
I don't know Metatron.
I heard of Metatron. He does stuff like that. He does a lot of history stuff as well. So I don't watch a lot of his videos, but I am familiar with the name.
No, skip them all and go straight to mattis.gay is what I would say.
There you go.
Greg Olson. Hey, Talarico, God wouldn't have picked Mary to bear the Messiah in the first place if she wouldn't have given consent. It does kind of undermine his plan.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the woman who's on the fence and be totally okay.
He preordained her to be like a pushover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, she wasn't asked.
He already knew she was willing. That's an interesting point too, that even if there was some sort of consent element intended in the textual scriptural description, it would follow logically that there was a basis for her selection, that she was not drawn in a lottery, that she was picked for a reason. And one would assume if God is as described, that she was picked for that reason, that she had already agreed, that she had already consented, that she would carry out God's will.
But not only that, there's a genealogy to it too, because Jesus Christ is the descendant of King David.
Right.
That's what being omniscient means.
That could have gone. He could have had. There could have been multiple paths to that. Genealogy, right? But this gets into the larger thing. I think there's even a connection there to this weird philosophy with like the trans shooters, because the way they look at consent is that they didn't consent to being in the body that they're in, or even being born originally, and that's why they kind of go
I forget the name of that weird philosophy. There was that shooter who shot up a Planned Parenthood not because he was, or no, it wasn't a Planned Parenthood.
Did he credit
IVF.
A specific philosophy? I know.
Yeah, he did. It was I forget the name of the philosophy. A guy shot up an IVF clinic last year because his thinking was, I never consented to my life. And I'm going to stop people from bringing others into life because they didn't consent.
Yeah. Well, he had called it like something dumb, but it goes back to a certain type of Gnosticism, which there are many, but it's not a new thing.
As I mentioned, Greg concluded that's what being omniscient means, bonehead. And Talarico, if there is a question in God's mind about the consent, it would imply, it's not just imply, it would require that he lacks knowledge about what's going to happen, which undoes the God concept. But anyway, thank you, Greg. Injured Guardian, Israel asked for a king because Samuel's sons were awful and they didn't want any of them succeeding him as judge. It wasn't to imitate other nations. I can't remember exactly. This is something you brought up earlier, Joshy. I don't remember the context for. Okay.
And that's a good example too.
Thank you, Injured Guardian. Taker. Would Talarico argue that consenting to coitus is not consenting to pregnancy? Contraception is not 100% effective. It's like playing Russian roulette without consenting to dying. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way of putting it. Listen, I'm going to play the game. I just don't consent to all of the possible consequences. Yeah. Well, sorry, that's the way the game works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to put myself in his mindset. I think he would say that, but that's the problem too. Well, consent is a necessary part of creation, whatever he said. Yeah, when parts A and B interact in that way, that is the creation. You can't revoke the consent after the fact.
I thought he was specifically referring to rape. The R word.
You can say the R word is Tim Wall's retarded. You can say,
I don't know. This goes on YouTube. I know they're sensitive about that.
Rape. Hey man, I played Gangster Party Line on Sunday, and they let me. And all the corporate advertisers loved it. They said play more.
Yeah. Plus, that's something that Joe Rogan even asked, right?
He did what?
When it comes to Talarico, about the whole consent thing, and then he asked a question about incest or rape or whatever.
Yeah.
Did he?
I can't remember exactly what Joe said to prompt that. I didn't see that part of.
Well, he was asking for the
maybe. So it was in the context of.
Yeah, it was in the context.
Okay.
Because he was talking about what was the connection between God and abortion, because Talarico, the charlatan, right, says he was trying to make an advocation for abortion, and Joe Rogan was bringing up, okay, what about the biblical aspect of it, or whatever like that, and that's
and that was his explanation.
Yeah, that's kind of how that whole exchange comes from. So I watched that clip, and it infuriated me greatly.
Last one here. Hold on, I'm going to search something in here. Last one here. Injured Guardian, standard time forever. World War II is over. The health and logistics problems, daylight savings time causes are more perturbatory. That's an interesting word. I'm stealing the line hard X, by the way. That's what I had to search for in the Discord server, the MC Club Discord server, where there's a lot of fun to be had, and you could participate if you were a member of the MC Club. Go to Matties.gay. Click on.
I'm in there.
Click on the. Mark's in there. Josh.
I will tweet something in there at some point. Come up with something clever.
But less is more. I'm going to give a credit to less is more for the line hard X. That I wish I could have. That's a very good one. I wish I made that up. No, that's less is more in the Discord server talking about the hard X. Anyway, okay, think we're all set. Oh, there's one more on Rumble here, and actually a couple more. Ginger Ninja says, you're thinking rationally and putting that on them. That's your error. I assume we're talking about which context here. Texas Democrats, probably, yeah. As far as Talarico.
You do have a tendency to try to apply logic and rationality to people who lack it. So it's
someday they'll gain it.
Yeah. Someday.
He says, also says, Mark, that's the like I used. Wait, which... That's the like I used. In what context did you say that? He said, FML, that's a good line. Thanks for the stream, Matt. Well, thank you for supporting the show, Ginger Ninja. But when did you say that's the like used?
That's the like what?
I don't know. I don't know. So I'm sure it was a great joke, Ginger Ninja.
Timing is everything. Sorry.
Thank you, Ginger Ninja. Backtrack Grooves, Bunny, new upload video. I don't know who Bunny is. But if there's a new bunny video out there, that's great. Glad to hear it. Thanks for supporting the show. Okay. Anything you guys want to say before we're out of here? Oh, Mark, I forgot to. I should have when you joined. Sorry, it was just so many things going on. Mark's. First of all, your old X account is back. It was unbanned. I have that linked in the description. You can follow Mark that way, and also Mark's revived YouTube channel is going on.
Yeah,
I should have allowed you some time to promote. My apology for that.
Thank you, Matt.
Do you want to promote any more?
No, that's it.
All right. If you want more Mark Aaron,
self-promotion. I'm in the wrong thing.
If you want more Mark Aaron, find more. Find his links in the description. His revived X account. It's unbanned. They banned it forever and then just unbanned it for reasons unexplained.
It was only banned for like 3 months, but it was banned for no reason and then reinstated for no reason. Yeah. Liberty M Aaron. And
he's got his YouTube channel too. If you want to catch some of Mark's video work and see more Mark Aaron, you can do it that way. Or
if you ever come across it in the emails, I still have my email question, and it involves land. So if you do come across
Sorry, I should have probably.
I'll wait to find it.
It's fine.
I could have built in some time for that tonight. I forgot about it.
No, it's all right.
We can come back to it though. Text me next week, and I'm sure we can probably fit it into the show.
Gotcha.
All right. Thanks for tuning in tonight, everybody. Thanks to our live chatters and super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Appreciate our callers, our emailers for their contributions. Thanks to Frank for joining, quitefrankly.tv for all things Quite Frankly. Shows live at 7 Eastern. Thanks to Mark, Aaron, and Joshy Boy. Find Mark's links in the description. Thanks to producer Tim for his help. Thank you to Polaris for that last second super chat. I'll see you on Sunday.